one, fight! Hey guys, it is Wednesday, May 4th. Yes, May the 4th be with you, whatever. They ruined Star Wars, but that doesn't matter because we're all happy. We're happy because you guys are here, and I'm here with my brother from another mother. Oh, it looks like I need to shave. Someone called me the deer hunter the other day. I've never actually killed a deer, but I did kill a lamb when I was 12. Well, slaughtered it with my dad. Anyway, he's here. Shantan Jetty, how you doing, my friend?
It is great to see you, man. Looking forward to talking about this movie. I'm excited about the day. And I hope you're doing well. How you been?
I'm doing really good. I've been drawing beef law all day, and it's been a blast. And my mentor, David Williams, we talk on the phone, not every day, but a couple days a week, and we talk for like an hour. And it's just he's teaching me so much about art and how to improve my drawing. And because he tells me, and I know it's true, I know how to do the icing really well, the filigree, the beautiful quality of line. But since I learned to draw from looking at comics, my structure, my underneath, that's the thing that needs the work, to get in there and get that Kirby composition and push things. And I show him layouts for beef law, and then he sends me some notes sometimes, and it's just gorgeous stuff that he sends me. So then I asked him on the phone, I said, if I use your layouts when you give me notes, not for the whole book, for whenever you do, am I still going to learn? Am I going to get better? He said, oh yeah. And did you know what he told me? He said that so much of Arthur Adams' early work and that famous drawing he did of like all the Marvel heroes, John Romita Jr. laid that out. You can look that up. He sent me a link showing an article, and he said so much of that Jim Lee Punisher, that's Carl Potts laying it out for Jim Lee.
There you go.
And when he told me that, I felt a lot better. Like, oh, he told me a young David Williams, Arthur Adams would lay out all kinds of things for him.
Yep.
So I felt very encouraged to hear that from him because I don't want to look at his layouts and then hold back my growth. And he says, "It works.
It's not. I mean,
you
got to copy. You used to be mentored. You used to apprentice under people. This is the way that we learn these things. There's no better way. And I got to say this before we say hello to the chat by name. You may want to turn your mic down for this. Or your headphones for this, because I'm about to go wild. But I just want to say to everybody, Wolverines!
That's right. I'd never seen this movie. I'd heard of it. Yeah. I heard the premise, and it's a fun movie. And I do. We were talking earlier. Maybe I'll let you take the lead with the plot because I've only seen it the one time about 5 days ago. Yeah. But the thing I was remarking to you before the show, we were talking, is the pacing. Yeah. It is so pre-Netflix, pre-deconstruction of everything pacing, you know what I mean? Where they over-explain the hell out of everything for the last 15 to 20 years in all media, comic books, Netflix especially. I was joking with you, like, they'll do a 6-part miniseries on where Grandpa got that butter knife.
Yep.
And it was just kind of better when Obi-Wan Kenobi said, "I fought with your father in the Clone Wars," and that was it. Yep. We didn't get 50 episodes of the Clone Wars, and then our imaginations could just fill it in perfectly. Your imagination will never fill in the details in a like crappy dollar store way. Your imagination, that abstract feeling, will always be perfect because it's a pure emotion. So let me get your feedback on that, but let me say hello to the chatters.
Oh, yeah, please. Yeah, let's
here.
Say hey to the Wolverines.
Well, Hung and Dung, Zach Fernandez. Oh, Shantan Jetty, you're in the chat and on camera at the same time. What is happening?
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. Dragon Pisces, Charlie Stevenson, not Charlie Sheen from Red Dawn. Cranberry Langas, Mike, fan of Double Impact. Oh, nice. Let's see, Bane Mahler. I say Bane Mahler. Someone said, my dog said Bane Mailer. And then who else is here? Hunch the Dirty Roofer. Get it done, baby. We love our tradesmen. Literature Devil. That's right. What a great show he has. Timmy Mello, always intelligent comments. John, the Horror of One. Ooh, that's a scary name. Odin Dasko. Oh, Odin did some great fan art, I believe, for Truth, Justice, American Way in our last contest. And Jared Weaver. I don't know if I already said that. But absolutely a blast to have all of you guys here. I'm so excited.
Absolutely, and to have my guys, Charles. You can see you guys. Right. Yeah, this is the thing, right? This is the thing I've been thinking a lot about, and something that they did with they did this with Night of the Living Dead, which is a really good example of how you could do one of these movies, which is if something like that were to happen. We always start everything with an omniscient overview to give the audience a sense of control. Like we have to explain everything. But if something like that were to happen, you would not get an advanced warning. Yes, they talk about the plausibility, and obviously it's not like in certain regards, I'll say. Because I know that John Milius is very into strategy, and he really thought out what they would be doing, all of their attacks and their guerrilla tactics. He did a similar thing for Conan. But the idea of it was the beauty of it, the artistic beauty of it was the idea of what would happen in the aftermath of our sort of where culture was, how, the academia is already being taken over by sort of, communist and Marxist ideology. The idea of in the 80s making a movie like this, where it was the youth who were responsible for, having to learn how to be tough and how to fight for their country, was beautiful. And the idea of an invasion of communist forces taking over this country, or making an attempt, which they stopped. Brilliant, premise for a movie. I think it's just fantastic that it is very much 80s, and what I mean by that in the best way, I guess I don't want to say woke, but it doesn't feel postmodern. It feels like the craziness of comic books, where children are at a high school and Russian paratroopers start falling in the field at the school, and then just start attacking, and they kill the teacher. And to me, that is such an outrageous premise, but it's so good because it's all about metaphor and parable and all of that stuff. And there is scientific research that shows that human beings learn best with story. You know what I mean? That if you just tell someone facts, that does not make an impression on people as far as them feeling it, understanding it, remembering it as good as story does. Story really, it touches the logical and the emotional, and then it's a full thought and a full idea. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're seeing what we're seeing right now, and this is the thing that is what this movie to me distills one of the things that we're about in Comicsgate. One of the things that is about why we're independent, and this is so important to me. Yeah, John went parables ? I think I got the tone of that. This is one of the things for me, which is you can tell any kind of story. You can tell any kind of story. Now, the problem is that when you're waiting for permission to tell the kind of story you want to tell, there's all these reasons why you can't do it. And one of the most difficult things in the world is to tell a story when you have total permission to do anything and have the courage to do it, and then the skill and discipline, as you were talking about at the start of this, to refine it or to get it to the point to where you're asking, for advice and how to do this and how to do that to make it the best thing it can be. And I think that Red Dawn is a very bold work for when it was made, for when it came out. And what I found myself feeling somewhat, nostalgic for as I was watching it was a time when kids were not human veal.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like these kids were they were like the thought of a parent being able to say, and this quote was in the chat, it was beautiful, where he says, "Son, avenge me, avenge me." And you're like, holy cow, man. And he's telling the boys, he's like, not time to cry now.
I'm looking. I have that image right here. Hold on, I'm bringing that up. Beautiful, I was organizing my photos. I got them real late, right? I got them as the show started from the wonderful Mini. But so the communists come in. Apparently they were bringing in tons of troops disguised as commercial flights, and they attack Calumet, Colorado, which is the high plains in Colorado. I'm from Colorado. I'm there all the time. I go there, I visit my dad, all that, and I know this country, and I recognized it right away. I didn't know it was taking place in Colorado, and then I got on Google or Wikipedia. I'm like, where is this supposed to take place? And because when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this is the high plains of Colorado, and so I guess they attack there in the middle of the country, and they subjugate the people, the Russians. They put them in camps, like re-education camps, and they're playing videos to tell you why capitalism is evil, and it's kind of relevant to some things you're hearing today. And so I do think what you were saying, that John Milius, the director, he's do you think it would be, I wonder, was it a problem for him to take this on? Because Russia was our enemy in the 80s, and they are communists, but Hollywood has been communist since at least the late 40s and early 50s. So I wonder how Hollywood felt versus the American public, making communists and all that the villains in this. I do wonder about that.
Oh, well, I mean, you can look at his career.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, where's the guy that wrote Apocalypse Now, directed Conan the Barbarian, directed, this movie as well, and was a very successful director. Like, where is his work? Like, where does his work continue? And the simple fact of the matter is that when you are making anti-communist, pro-American work in the time he was, there you go.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just lost my train of thought. I was just on what you were saying, and then I read the comment and I lost.
Oh, you were saying John Milius, was it hard for him during this time to make this in Hollywood and the repercussions of it?
Right. Yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah, I do wonder about that. I wonder because at least the front-facing thing to the public in the zeitgeist of the 80s of what I can remember. And remember, I wasn't really allowed to watch TV or movies or music. My family, I was sheltered from pop culture because my mom thought it was evil, and she's right. And but what the little I did see, it's like commie bad, America good. So I don't know that he probably got a lot of blowback. At least externally, he probably didn't, but maybe internally, I do wonder about that because Hollywood has been communist since the 50s. It really has.
Well, this is the thing that's interesting. Yeah, this is Charles Lee is saying, well, Hey, pause on that for a second. Sorry, I'm going to get to this next comment, but we got to talk about this. All right. If we've got any ladies in the chat or watching Stealth, because they're thinking, I'm going to find me a real man in this chat. And that's right. We only have real men here and real ladies in this chat. Let me tell you.
That's right. All the real ladies.
That's the way it is. Let me tell you this. Here's some advice from your Uncle Shamph here. If you are famous for your face, regardless of what you think in your insecurities might be wrong, do not go to a plastic surgeon and alter it. And of course, I'm talking about Jennifer Grey, who famously got a nose job to make her nose look like everybody else's. Right. And her career went with that. But if you look at
I've
Jennifer
heard that.
Grey,
that's such a weird thing,
It's because she was this is gotta be careful who you got whispering in your ear. She was told that she was having trouble getting roles, not because she needed to go through that natural transition from child actor to adult, but because, she needed to change to, update herself, and she picked the wrong thing. What are you gonna do? There you go.
Right.
Yes, I agree with that. Henry Bemis. Yeah, you don't need the glasses that you sadly broke at the end of that Twilight Zone episode to see that he was clearly blacklisted. And the simple fact of the matter is that and I can't overstate this stuff, man. It's like is that when you look at, you know, this stuff and you look at this work, you know, that you're seeing, you've got to think about this, that this is obviously post Vietnam, is some what Charles Lee was saying. This is in the height of the Cold War, but this is the thing. The in academia, which is where a lot started to really infest Hollywood at this point. This is where the love of Che Guevara. This is also during the Beatles and Lenin and idealizing on the left and in Hollywood of communist heroes on the one hand. So while it was easy to sort of, there was half of Hollywood, because it probably wasn't all this at the time, that was making these kinds of movies. There was another side of it that was taking a more, conciliatory tone, or was saying that all the problems of the world are right-wing authoritarianism, which has really not ever been the case. No. It usually all starts with Marx. And so I look at this movie and I go, there's no doubt in my mind that what this movie was saying, they didn't want to be, they might not have liked Soviet Russia in the bigger sense of things, right? But they didn't, I don't know how they felt about the virtues of America and standing up to communism, how much they wanted that taught to the youth. I think that's what they would have had a problem with, because they were doing the opposite.
Yeah, we know what they wanted, because we've seen what they've done in the 40 years since this movie came out. It's America, tradition, capitalism, Christians bad, father bad, family bad, and then as they say in the Satanist church, do as thou wilt, good. The only heuristic of the left and the postmodern and the Church of Satan is literally do as thou wilt, which is utter evil. You know what I mean? If it feels good, do it. So that's why you hate tradition. That's why you hate father. That's why you hate patriotism in the land that your fathers and mothers built, because, then there's authority. Then there's, I can't just do whatever the hell I want. But it was really, I think just tonally, it's jarring to see movies like this when we're used to the Netflix and the modern crap where I told you they'll do a 6-episode series on where Grandpa got the butter knife, and they just over-explain the hell out of everything. And this movie just goes. The kids just have weapons. They have 50 caliber mounted, like crew served weapons and rocket launchers, and we never see where they get them. You're supposed to be intelligent enough to understand some time has passed. They raided the communists wherever they're setting up base in America, and the kids stole some weapons. You're supposed to have enough brain cells to figure that out and suspend your disbelief. And I like that, And when I'm writing, I don't know how you're, exactly writing thus fair. I'll know when I read it. But when I'm writing Beef Law, I wrote a draft, and I wrote 7 drafts. It's done. It's awesome now. But I go and look for sitting around talking, sitting around exposition, sitting around too much explaining, and throw it in the trash and make sure this thing is action, action, action. But the action is serving the story. Nothing. We're not shooting a gun or jump kicking someone in Beef Law or this movie for no reason. Yeah. Every bullet fired is also pushing the plot forward. And I think that is a lost art in modern movies and video games and television. They've lost it. They do the 6-part miniseries to find the butter knife. It's like, I don't need you to explain all of this to me. That's weird and boring, frankly.
Well, I will tell you the greatest thing someone just gave some love out there to Powers Booth, and I have to tell you, if you've not seen Powers Booth in Hatfields and McCoys, he's got one of the best deliveries of all time when they're on the border of jurisdiction and they're trying to take the McCoy boys back for a crime, and the McCoy people ride up to him, and Powers Booth is sitting there, and he's a judge as well as a Hatfield, and he goes, we're going to be taking these boys back to the courthouse. We can either settle it here or we can settle it right now. And he goes, either way, you're likely to lose in either venue. And I just love that, man. But it's
as an actor, here he's just a pilot. He's an everyman pilot adventurer. But in so much of his delivery and acting, he has what's the pretentious word? Oh, he has gravitas. If you told me that his father was the, you know, like the count of whatever, and he was like actually blood royalty, I'd believe you. He carries himself that way, very masculine, very, very not proper, but like, you know what I mean? Like there's like majesty to his persona or something like that. Even though he's playing a dirty, crash landed pilot, I don't know. In all his roles, it seems to come off that way to me. So
we got to talk about this casting of young actors we had in this film, by the way.
Right.
I mean,
absolutely. Let me
go
ahead. I'm digging around for a good photo of the group.
Yeah, we've got Patrick Swayze, we've got C. Thomas Howell,
right?
We've got Charlie Sheen, who's got tiger blood. We all know it. We've got Leah Thompson, and we've got Jennifer Grey.
Right.
And the thing that gets me about this is I would compare this movie to what I would say is the popular nihilistic view, which is oddly authoritarian when you think about it, or the belief that only government authority is keeping us, civil, is the kind of insanity of a work. And apologies to everyone who no apologies actually, to people who love this film, is the book Lord of the Flies and the various adaptations of it. Which is, if you leave kids alone on an island, they're going to descend into cannibals. And at the end, when the military shows up, that's the only thing keeping them civil, is this authoritarian force, as if the humanity is the opposite of what's true. Humanity produced the order in that case, not the other way around. Order didn't come from some, authority figure who said, humanity, you're going to stop this. And if it did, that goes against the belief system. What these kids showed is they saw their parents and they saw their community, dare I use the word, and they said, this is, our parents are being taken away and we love our parents. Our country is being threatened. And they said, we're going to fight till we can't fight anymore, which they do, to stand up to this. And what an ennobling story about young people, that when the chips are down, rather than when the chips aren't down, they will burn everything down. But when the chips are down, they'll find that strength inside of them, and they will find that moral center to fight for their way of life that they believe in. And where's the art and entertainment teaching kids about what is great about this country and what you lose when you're in an authoritarian collectivist society? And I'd love to see this kind of story be done better and better. It's an idea that could be evolved and improved upon, but it's brilliant.
Yeah. One thing about it, I'll get to this comment here in just a second, but one thing about this movie, about the pacing of that 80s pacing, we're like, listen, just believe us. This is happening. They have weapons. They did this. It would be nice to not Netflix it and do the 6-part miniseries on the butter knife, but it would be nice to expand it and flesh it out a little bit. Because I got to tell you, I've only seen the movie once. I don't know these characters' names. I couldn't name one of these. I know the actors' real life names. I don't know any of these characters' names, and I don't know much about them. And I don't know how much I need to know, because the premise is so powerful. The premise is amazing that it starts off like all movies. You start off in the real world, then the bad thing happens, the inciting incident. Luke Skywalker's, uncle and aunt are killed, and then that gives you the hero's journey. And you start off small town America there in Colorado, and they're teasing Charlie Sheen about the score at the football game. Remember? Like, oh, you guys got blown out. I'm surprised they left it up on the scoreboard or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's just calm, peaceful, abundant, life in America in the 80s, which was like the zenith of, middle class. That stretch between the 50s to the 80s, America was the golden age of, it was going to be easy. If you worked hard, you were going to succeed pretty much in this country. And it gets taken away from them like that. The communists literally parachute in, and they're in the middle of a lecturing class, and all of a sudden 50 caliber rounds going through the window, and they kill the teacher and kill a few students. I didn't find
the was the one. That one was like, this is the order of your world. And he's the way that he walks out there, the way that he's dressed, he's a very sympathetic character. And he's like, what's going on here? And in a lot of ways, and this is what people are missing, is that, and this is, we were having a conversation about writing characters and about evil. And I was talking about how one of the things that we do to death, probably too much, is we deconstruct heroes to their detriment, and we deconstruct villains to the detriment of good. So everything we do seems to be attacking good. So we say heroes are really kind of bad, which, what is it? I think it was Ayn Rand who said that when the idiot and the genius meet halfway, it's only the genius who loses.
Right.
And when the good meets evil halfway, it's only the good who loses.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate principle of the universe. You know,
it just right.
Doesn't work the other way. You know?
And so you've got these, and so what I said was, which was interesting, is they said, do you write characters when you're writing your characters? Do you try to think of what their motivation is? And I say, no, I really don't, because the kinds of characters, when I look at Lovecraftian villains and I look at those kinds of things, I don't try to think about why they're doing what they're doing. Like, I don't try to get inside their head. I'm not interested.
You know, he wanted to eat the village because, you know, you're like trying, you're going to hem and haw.
So let's say, and it's far-fetched, but let's say that a certain country that's name starts with R, right? Were to invade a sovereign nation, hypothetically, right? And we were sitting around as they did that, trying to understand their intent. But what would the people on the ground in, say, a country that they did this to, what would they be thinking? What would the reality of their sudden change of, I can't walk down the street here, I can't do this here?
Trying to figure out how to survive from moment to moment is all they'd be concerned with.
Yeah, the women and kids would likely leave Ukraine. I'm sorry, I mean this fictional place.
Right.
And right. And so what you see is the moral relativism, which is not what happens when you find yourself thrown into a situation where you're fighting for your life. And you see this lack of understanding in narrative about really what it's like when you're in an unambiguous situation. And that's what you were talking about, the over descriptive nature of, like, let's go and talk about the childhood of this villain, or let's talk about how this is blah, blah. If no matter what situation you're in, and that's beautiful. Sorry, Charles Lee's got this. A great point to bring up. Great, Charles Lee.
Where is it? Let's see.
Should be 3 from the bottom, I think.
Okay, here it is. And that class was a story talking about the history of Genghis Khan, of course.
You've got it. Absolutely got it. Everything. This teacher was trying to explain to these students history of this kind of thing that was in their minds so completely detached from them. And if you look at that picture right there, right? And obviously Patrick Swayze is your typical young man played by a guy who looks like he's 30 back in the 80s. That's what we did. Told people to get going. But if you look at this, you're told to sit back, let other people handle it, your authorities, right?
Right.
And when you see these kids,
trust the experts, right?
Yeah, trust the experts.
Believe the science, even though it changes every 2 minutes, right? So
and what about? I'm going to tell you this. I'm reading your comment. I disavow your comment, and I want to tell you, I think you've been watching a certain trial too much today. And you know how it is when you when you watch certain things, they creep into your head, or into your bed, depending on how it goes. And literally how it goes. But you see these guys. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go. Jump. Go.
This doesn't have to do with what you're saying, but I wanted to bring it up like 5 minutes ago. Okay, time out, and then we'll get right back to you.
Yeah.
I love this comment, so I took a screenshot of it.
Yes.
No. One of my mods said, make an upcoming show about 1982. The Thing, Blade Runner, Star Trek 2, E.T., Tootsie, 48 Hours, Conan, Porky's, Rambo, First Blood. What a fucking year. That is a murderer's row of movies.
It is.
Except
and let me tell you this,
guys. I watched Porky's last year because I'd never seen it, and I was curious. I literally fast forward the middle, like 40 minutes of Porky's. I couldn't stand it, but maybe it was just me. I couldn't stand that movie. Sorry, but the rest of them, sure. Anyway, what were you saying, Charles?
No, I will, just to go to that comment, I would agree with it, but I would say, look at these characters. What was so interesting to me about the characters was, and I was so grateful for this, is they had female characters, right? They had, and male characters, but they did have, these really strong characters, and they didn't spare them the hardship. They didn't, they basically were like, if you're going to be here and you want to be in the situation, like with all these kids, every American dream you had is built on a foundation of our civil society. The McDonald's, that's a perfect shot.
Right.
I wonder how many people in this day and age think about, and unless of course they've burned it down and they can't go to it, but how many people think about the fact that you can go to a McDonald's and order something, whatever you want, if you've got the cash, which is not that much compared to what it's like to get food other places. And I remember hearing this, I guess I'm trying to think of where she was from in Eastern Europe, but she was talking about how the first time she got, I think she grew up in East Germany, actually, if I'm not mistaken, way back when. So she was an older lady. And she said the first time she went to a convenience store, she started loading everything up in her pockets. She just couldn't believe, like, she started grabbing everything. And she said, because in the convenience stores in a communist country, the store is as big as the area behind the counter. And the behind the counter is the store. You tell them what you would like, and they go back and you see what you would get. But you don't ever have it out where you can get to it. That's behind the counter. So it's a complete inversion of what we're used to. So she said she walked into this store and everything was there. And she just was like desperate for it because she'd never been in a situation like that of plenty.
Yeah, speaking about scarcity, I got my passport recently. I had to change my name because I had the wrong middle name my whole life. I didn't know. My parents told me my middle name was Abdul, and legally it was Zachariah. So that's cool to find out when you're 42 or 41, whatever I found out. And I changed my name, and then I got a passport and everything. And I just got my passport like 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm really been itching to travel. Like I watch YouTube videos about first class. I want to fly first class for some reason. And I went to Orlando in November, and I drove cross country. It was amazing, and I really love travel. Now that I don't work for DC and I don't have the hellish deadlines of DC and Marvel Comics, I can spend time with my wife and family and just travel more and see more things. So on a whim, on Saturday, I drove 25 miles and I went to Mexico. I went into Tijuana. I live right on the border. I can be there in half an hour.
There you go, man.
And because I had my passport, I said, I gotta travel. It's been driving me crazy. I'm planning a trip to Dubai with my father because he's Arab, and I want to take him back to his part of the world and check it out. And I've never been there, but I want to travel so bad that I went to Tijuana for an hour and a half just to see it. I hadn't been there in 20-something years. I used to go when I was young, and you could just cross the border. Like 15 years ago, they changed it. You need a passport or something like that. And it was terrible. I felt really sad. I was thinking about those people for like the next day and a half. Like, if you've ever been there to Tijuana, it's a mess. There's just a mess everywhere, and everything's rusted, everything's crumbling, everything's faded. And then homeless people everywhere, and beggars everywhere, and just crowds and noise. And I think they were on to me that I was American, even though I think I could pass for Mexican. I'm half almost. Because I got charged $4 for a bottle of water, and I'm certain
that could be a clue.
I'm certain that's not what they charge. I don't speak Spanish. Yo hablo español poquito, como un güero tonto. But I studied French for some reason in high school. I should have studied Spanish. My family and my wife speak it, but it's one thing to see it. It's another thing to go and be in it and like look at these people and be 5 inches away and see their humanity. And it's heartbreaking. And there's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? You're going to save 10,000 people. You're one person. And in the span of 30 seconds, 2 different men walked past me that didn't have eyeballs, begging with cups. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just women breastfeeding on the street, sitting on cardboard and begging. And in Mexico, or at least I know in Tijuana, the chicle is how you say gum, like chiclets. Little kids run up to you and go chicle because they have little boxes of like little bits of gum, and you give them a quarter and take some gum, and it's the way they beg and stuff. And to go down there and feel all that and see it and all that for a little while, it's just, we are so insanely blessed and lucky to live here. And I think more people need to see that. It's just heartbreaking for those people to see it. And you have no
India
idea.
Did that for me, man.
Oh, sure. I'm sure
India was like that. But and this is the crazy thing, right? There are so many. I think the biggest trick or the biggest problem that we had, at least in academia, I don't know if we still have it, is in terms of, I don't know if things are as open as they were, is that what we would do is we would these college administrators and college presidents would get flown in to China to try to open up doors for students coming to the colleges, and they would only be shown, like they would be given the tour, right? It's like, don't look behind the curtain. And it's the same thing that happens in all these communist countries, right? They'll go, okay, here's the tour. Don't go, behind this and see what's actually going on. We're not going to show you what's actually going on, right? But what is embarrassing is the way that they come back and are so naive, and they pitch this great sort of story. And it's kind of like it is the fact that I would love to see this movie or this critiqued as we were doing and which we will continue to do, but I would love to see this movie critiqued for how it could tell its story better. Do you get what I'm saying? As opposed to critiqued from the standpoint of, this is a ridiculous story, why do we need this?
No, it's an amazing story that could be told better, but it is just such a great story. I wonder about John Milius. I know nothing about him. I wonder if he's a veteran or his father, grandfather were great veterans, but he has such a love for this country. It's evident in his work that he respects.
He's obsessed with military history, Patton, all of that. He's just obsessed with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I love, and you're seeing, like, this is the crazy thing, right? One of the things that I think that the thing I can't stand right now in culture, anyway. I love that. What a great shot, man.
Right.
What a great
Leah Thompson just letting go. Just
Yeah,
it's nice.
I mean, you got to say it this way, man. I can't say any further than this, right? Is we can't sit around and say, I'm not into the whole black pill thing, guys. I can't be.
No,
I roll with razor fist on that. I'm like going. I think it's a way to bitch out of life, to be honest. I still like to believe that when a man in this country, a man can rush Dave Chappelle on stage and get justice, and by God, that's what I saw. So, but I look at this stuff and I look at it this way. I go, we need to stop speaking in the same but different authoritarian tone and saying, oh, well, in this day and age, would kids even fight? Or, oh, in this day and age, do kids even love this country? Or blah, blah, blah. And start saying it's our responsibility. If we're not coaching it, we're allowing it. As a friend
I know
of mine
a smart, handsome guy that told you that. That's right.
Exactly right. He did. Absolutely. Right. He's the handsomer friend of Dean Cain. This is what I've heard. Dean's like, there'll be a ring at the doorbell, I'll be drug out like a pit bull got a hold of me. It is what it is.
He's a buff dude. He still lifts and all that. Yeah. Meeting him in person, he's still got his muscles.
Yeah.
That's good.
I bet he does all right. Like, out in the world.
Yeah.
I've seen I saw some recent interviews with him where the female interviewer just looked like she was at a loss for words, to be frank.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think he's 55, but he still has that $1 million smile.
Don't tell me that, man. Damn it. I need to get
man, he's a genuine person. He really is. He and I, we're actually friends. We're still talking. I think we were talking yesterday via text. We're just talking about life. Then we were talking about the Supreme Court thing, and I'm wishing him well on his some stuff he's doing. I don't want to give his life away, but he's a great dude. That's your Dean Cain moment, brought to you by Farmer John Sausage. No, just kidding.
Exactly right, man. Well,
here's a comment right at me. Hey, Gabe, if you're really wanting to adventure, and you want to take your wife to a very wonderful place, I would recommend probably Kenya or South Africa, someplace like that. Exotic. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. It really does. Now that we got our passports, we're going to figure it out. And I'm going to have to sell a lot of comics, though. So I need you guys to buy Truth, Justice, American Way.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing I want to make sure that we're talking about here, is that the greatest the greatest trick in the world that somebody can pull is to use moral relativism and linguistic what's the word I'm looking for?
Neuro-linguistic programming. Is that what you're getting
I would say this linguistic manipulative linguistic graying to convince you that it's so funny. They even did this in the last of the George Lucas Star Wars movies, where he's like, "Good's a point of view, Anakin." That's how it starts, where they kind of go, "But we're not perfect," and you concede we're not perfect, as if that was a hill you were on. By the way,
right.
So they start by saying, well, we're not perfect. And then you go out of your way to prove how not perfect we are, not realizing what they're attempting to do is level you out with something that is evil and corrupt, authoritarian, and anti-liberty, anti-freedom, whatever it is.
Right. It's a classic rhetorical trick of thinking past the sale. They do it to you when you go to a fancy steakhouse. They don't ask you if you want dessert. They bring you the tray of desserts and ask you which one you want. So they assume the sale. They think past the sale, and they're like, well, you want dessert, just which one? They never give you a chance to just say you don't want it. So yes, what you're saying there's absolutely true. The thinking past the sale is a rhetorical trick, absolutely, and a dirty one.
Mighty Geek Studios is killing me with the with the usual suspects quote. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that kind of impresses me the most about this stuff, which is I am a big believer in we've talked about this before, when right before all of this stuff, the craziness with the lockdowns and COVID and all that stuff. I said to my students, I go, everybody has to decide what, like, at a certain point before you do anything, you have to decide what the whether you're all in on humanity or you're out. Because you can't be partially in on humanity. You can't just say, I like humanity when it works for me, but I'm not interested when it's tough.
It's like you can't be a little bit pregnant,
Exactly. That's right.
It is a binary, So.
Yeah, you can't be, well, it turns out he's only mostly dead, which, as we all know, mostly dead is slightly alive, right?
Right.
And someone, I love this, Cranberry Langers, they have control over the good, bad, so they can make you the bad guy, make them always the winners. Yeah, you don't need somebody's constitution when you have control of their dictionary, is one of the most famous quotes of all time. It's like, if you change the meanings of the words, it doesn't matter what's been codified. But I also like the line from Army of Darkness: good, bad, I'm the guy with the gun.
Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
I did a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash miniseries when I worked at Wildstorm.
Nice.
It was like I think it was a 4 or 6 issue miniseries. Yeah, that was one of the first things I worked on by myself. But yeah, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. It was brutal. A lot of people getting killed.
So, yeah, man. Yeah. It happens in those movies. Yeah, man.
I think it's a great movie. I didn't know what to expect, and because I was like, oh, kids fighting communist soldiers. But if you take this movie not seriously, but you take it, or not literally, but you take it seriously, it's so good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't know how kids are going to do against special ops guys. Probably pretty terrible. That's not the point of the movie. That's not at all the point. Don't take it literally. Just take it seriously, the movie. And there's a heart-wrenching thing in this. The kids in their snow outfits. It's so cool. And again, they don't tell you where the kids got them. They just have them. Just move. We need more of that. We need more of that in storytelling. Like, come on. Or even in Star Wars, when Han and Luke steal the stormtrooper outfits, it's like they just steal them like that. They show you how they get them, but they don't spend 7 episodes of the Netflix series on how they got the outfits. They just, let's go. But this scene here is terrible to me. It's a good scene, but it was very hard to watch. And I have another image of it. The bad guys are able to track them and find their they're taking refuge up in the mountains. The kids and that pilot, Powers Boot, that crashed. They take refuge up there, and then they do like guerrilla style attacks. And they like to spray Wolverine on their prey once they destroy like a APC, or they destroy like some truck, or they'll spray it on there. It's like, yeah, we got you, Russians, or you commies. And the Russians track them to their base, their little home they have in the mountains. And it's because one of the kids, they made him swallow like a transponder so they could track him, with radar or whatever. Like that. I don't know exactly. They don't explain it. You have fun and you go with it. And there's this horrible scene where they want to execute their own teammate for betraying the group. And it's a real moral quandary, and they're crying. And, Patrick Swayze's sitting there pointing the gun at the kid, and he doesn't want to do it. And he doesn't. He does not shoot his friend. But, and I didn't catch any of his characters' names, the kid right behind him It's kind of hardcore. The one right behind the gun arm there, he just lights him up with the automatic.
See, Thomas Howell, man. I mean, that's not his character's name, but yeah, he goes, and that was the thing. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We need a 3-season spinoff of how they got their uniforms. Listen, and for anybody who remembers Star Wars, there's this movie called Star Wars. It was once a great franchise, but they you basically see the stormtroopers go up, you hear a banging sound, and then stormtroopers come out.
Right, and it's haunted.
Like that's how much they show it. But in this particular case, I gotta say, and they do the kind of classic thing where C. Thomas Howell's character then, of course, has to die because it's like it's that kind of communication, that kind of narrative thing they do where it's like because he's drew first blood, or whatever, he's the extremist. But I actually have to tell you, that was always one of those things that bothered me about this movie. You
don't like this moment? You don't think they should have?
No, I love that moment. I think it's great. I don't like that the character doesn't make it.
Yeah, it is very.
Do you know why? Do you know why I don't like that? It's not because I'm this character. This is the thing that we have done such a crap job in our narratives about, and I've heard so many people talk about this, is once society gets rebuilt, I don't get a shot, which I wish I had, of this character older walking to the scene of where this happened.
Right.
And remembering what he was brought to. Right. Like what he had to do there for this, the sacrifice he had to make. If he dies, it's wrapped up in a bow.
The moment that still gives me chills to this day is the end of Private Ryan, where Private Ryan is on the bridge with Tom Hanks and the bombs on, and then it fades to 85-year-old Private Ryan at the graves there in North France, and he's crying to his wife. He's like, "Tell me I'm a good man,"
That's the bit.
And it's just like he wants to know that all those guys died, and he made their death worth it. You know what I mean? Yep. And that is my yeah. Tom Hanks is sitting there dying, fading away, and he tells him, "Earn this."
Yeah, he's like, and
I think as father, I can't speak as a mother because I am not a biologist, but I do know what a man and a father is. And
I'm not a veterinarian, but I know what a dog is.
Right. Hey, I'm not a mechanic, but I know what the fuck my car is. We could do this all day, Sean. I'm not a scientist, but I know this is a computer. What are we talking about? But I know as a father, use me up, burn me, spend my life, take my blood and bones. I don't care. It's an honor. It's an honor to give myself to my family, and up to and including my death. It's an honor. I'd be happy to do it if I need to. But please, just respect it. That's all. It's a life, and I will give it to you. Just respect that I gave it to you. That's all. That's all. I don't ask for anything back. And these kids, they exemplify that they have their nice little Main Street USA, their little mountain life there with their little high school football team, and it's serene and idyllic and beautiful. It has its struggles, of course. They don't look like people of means by any stretch. They don't look wealthy, but they're happy, and they live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And when it gets taken by communists, they're like, well, shit, we're going to do something about it, or we're going to die trying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful concept.
This is the interesting thing to me about it. It's when I look at this stuff, and he was the mayor's son, right? Says Bane Mailer. Yeah. And this is the issue with it is that these kids, right? These people in this scene, they're being confronted. Think about this. We talk about, and we go into a thought in this scenario. Patrick Swayze's character, he's like, I can't kill my friend here, right? Think about the moral difficulty. People are like, would you do it? Would you not do it? And I'm kind of like, don't know. It's like in this situation.
Well, we like to think as men. We like to think as men. Yeah, I would do what needs to be done. But stare at your brother in arms. Stare him in the face and do it. And that's a whole other thing. We live as artists, dude. We could only imagine, right? We could only I
don't know, man. You know how it is at Thanksgiving when shit kicks off. No, I'm kidding. But this is the thing. The thing though that gets me about this. Think about the utter sociopathy or psychopathy that is portrayed as serious, legit, and the nature of humanity in Lord of the Flies,
Mm-hmm.
and then explain to me like how the same, entertainment world creates that with a straight face and finds this hard to imagine. You've just watched your entire society fall. And
Right.
this person pretty much is, a part of trying to snuff out the last remnants of it. You're fighting for your lives versus, I haven't had anything to eat in 5 days. Let's kill that kid just for the hell of it. It's a very weird thing to show, man. Like,
yeah,
they become murderous maniacs at 12.
I think there's a bit of insight here from Nana 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 Nana.
Yep.
They had been through so much together, but the shooter lost his family.
Yes.
They all did, but when he found out, it broke him. And you saw that in that. And again, I didn't catch these characters' names, man, because this movie moves fast. I thought it was a book. I was telling you, Sean, before the show. So I looked it up on Wikipedia, like, was this a book? Because I felt like it was a book and they had to gloss over things and hit the beats of the story. But I didn't find anything saying it was a book. And it's an unusual pace in the movie, but I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's clean, it's dirty and fast, and it tells its point. You know what I mean? It's like
it's lean and mean.
Yeah, it's lean and mean. There you go. I was trying to make up a new saying when one already existed.
Well, listen, as you know, lean and mean means that it's fat and kind, according to the new dictionaries. No, but so this is, and Charles Lee's got a great point. We got the best chat, guys. Listen, seriously, you guys are dialed in here, man. Charles Lee's got a great one there, where it's I know where they got them. And oh, by the way, Swayze's character and Charlie Sheen's character, if you remember the movie, which, guys, we're feeling it at this hour, at this point in our years. But I love this bit. They have been brought up to those mountains hunting all their lives. Right. And this goes to the idea, right, of that if there is one thing that allows you to hold off a force, maybe not indefinitely, which they did not do, they just held it off. It's knowing the terrain better than your enemy. And understanding the terrain better than your enemy, that it's your territory. And it takes a lot to overcome that, and you think about flying halfway around the world. Like someone was talking about, and I know this is not impossible for us to imagine, but I have this bizarre tendency that maybe a lot of us have, where I remember the past with the technology that I have today. Does that make sense? Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
And you think about the 80s, in 1984, and you think about where technology was, we've removed cell phones. We've removed, accurate things. Like they had to put a radio transponder in a person to find him. Do you know how different that would be now?
Right.
They would have like facial recognition on everybody's cell phones. They walked into town.
They would have drones. They would have camera-enabled drones flying around looking for them.
Wouldn't be no helicopter.
They'd be using infrared to get their body heat signatures and all of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is an absolutely, yeah. Oh, y'all need to check out the show Jericho. Already, you've seen it, by the way. Love that show. My wife loves that show.
Jericho. Wasn't that some dystopian show from about 10 years ago?
Yeah, Skeet Ulrich
was the name. I don't know what happened in it though.
Yeah, it's a really cool show. Yeah.
Oh, geez. But okay, so basically the Russians, they capture America somewhat. There's free America. I guess it's to the east or it's not where they are in Colorado. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when they're talking to someone who knows, I forget. Powers Booth, he knows because he's a fighter pilot and he gets shot down. When they're talking to him around the campfire having some dinner, he tells them, the Russians, and I don't know, they nuked Atlanta and Washington, D.C. and Dallas. I don't know. He names some cities, and he tells the kids they've taken this part of the country and this, but there's free states over here. And it's really much more horrific than they let on, because the first 30 or 40 minutes, they don't tell you that America is getting conquered. You just think it's this weird attack in Colorado. And then he comes in, Powers Booth, whatever his character's name is, and he's telling you how bad this has gotten. And it's really amazing to me that the kids, they just fight with even more resolve, even though, like, you're 6 kids. Like, what are you going to do against a world superpower? But they don't care. And that's
in the old school zombie movies, they did, particularly the George Romero ones, they did such a great job of giving you a sense of the scale of this thing through secondhand reports in a way that makes the characters feel isolated and gives it a sense of scale. And I don't think that I think that the main aspect of this, and again, you're seeing this, although I do have to say it would be a really compelling movie if there was a Russian attack just to take over the high school. That was it. That was the whole movie. They're like, what the hell were they thinking? It's like, it's a very limited.
That would be very bizarre.
If they were rooting for the rival football team from afar, and they just lost.
I used to tell myself jokes like that in my head of absurd, like Mad Magazine scenarios for villains, where Darth Vader's like, I put mushrooms in the stroganoff because I knew you hated them, Obi-Wan.
Exactly. That's right.
Things like, are you really a bad guy? You just seem like an annoying guy.
I clink the cereal bowl in the morning because I know it drives you crazy, Obi-Wan. Like
it was me who left the cap off the toothpaste.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing thing because if there's one thing that of all the smash that, like if there's one thing that I will say that we have not been effective at doing in terms of our art and culture is there are so many other countries, in my experience, that have so much less to be proud of and do such a better job of having pride in their entertainment and their culture. And I think that, funny enough, people are ready for it. I don't believe that it's that, people don't want to see it. I think people don't see it, and so you don't really
there's
know.
A hunger for it. People have had an ass full of woke. People have had it. Look, it's a bad time to be woke. Disney got their teeth punched out in Florida. Amber Turd has destroyed Me Too with Jada Pinkett Smith single-handedly. The Supreme Court flipping everything there. Elon Musk buys Twitter, and there's another big one I'm not remembering. There's about 4 or 5 horrific things for the left. And they admitted that Hunter Biden laptop thing is real and all that stuff.
What?
And it just,
sorry.
And it's just
Netflix is.
Yeah. Netflix stock is like they're going out of business or whatever the hell. People are tired of woke. People actually got woke. People actually woke up and they said, you know what? That's enough. And I think the line for me is kids. You know what I mean? Like you want to destroy the future. You want to destroy children and all that stuff. That's okay. That's more than enough. And then what we do, comic books. That's the reason I abandoned DC Comics. Like I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna make Superman books. And then I'm imagining some little 9-year-old white boy reading a book I made that tells him he's a piece of crap because he's white. I'm not doing shit like that. That's evil. And I'm also not gonna have a little black kid read it and then the book I made for DC says he's a victim because he's black or he's gay or he's a woman.
This brings me to a very good point.
You're a victim. Are you going to try? If you're a victim, you're not going to try as hard because you think it's rigged. Why do I want to make ugly crap like that? I want to make stuff that says if your heart is broken, but you're brave and you rely on your traditions and your culture and your God and all this stuff that's proven, patriotism, your cultural patrimony. If you rely on that, you're going to find a way out. That's what I want to make because I know people in real life will have their heart broken and they'll need to be inspired by things. So.
Well, and I'll say this too, is that if we could, just for a moment, I would love to see how Truth, Justice, American Way is doing.
Oh, okay. Well,
so because we're talking about this stuff, and I have to say this, if there, I was saying this too. There's when Comicsgate creators, we get together and we talk after shows, before shows, and we start brainstorming about ideas and things like that. One of the things when people are asking me, who should the villains be? I'm like, can we get some communist villains in here? Can we get some, like, for heaven's sake, it's like, well, like, it's not hard to write well because there's so much information, firsthand accounts. But
you let's like morally repugnant people that typify everything wrong with postmodernism and hating this country, you're staring right at it.
Yeah.
These people are the worst of the worst. Not only
so let me see how this is doing. You skipped the top, man. That's where we got to zoom. We got to see where we're at.
We're moving along here. We're 57,837.
Almost to 58.
Yeah, it'll be nice to get a few more guys. Yeah, a few more backers. It'd be cool if some of you out there could back tonight. That would be amazing. Because I am doing this for you. Of course, because people get like, oh, you want your Indiegogo to do good because you want money. Well, of course I want money because I need it. But guys, and this is the truth. This is indisputable. You know what people mean and believe by what they do, not what they say, because anyone can lie. If I were all about money, I would have just stayed at DC Comics. I'm a Mexican Arab. I could write my own ticket at Warner Brothers and do whatever I wanted. I wrote one 10-page story for them and drew it. It went as an informal pitch to HBO.
There you go.
You know that? That was right before I quit.
Man, let me tell you this.
American Mongrel, and it was about, they wanted us to write an autobiographical story if we were a person of color. So I applied for that, but I wrote a conservative story. And the premise of that story was getting picked on in the Gulf War, for being
Oh, my God. We have that in common, actually.
Yeah, and I actually
I had that same experience. Yep.
And but the
91, right?
Huh?
I said 91, right?
Yeah, I was a seventh
I had that same experience too.
I was a seventh and eighth grader. But the punchline that I put in my story is not white people bad, they picked on me. It was my grandpa getting in my face and telling me I do belong here and our race doesn't matter. Our traditions matter. Because in the story, I'm telling him, well, I'm not really white and I'm not really Mexican and I'm not really Arab. I don't know what I am. And they pick on me at school and they call me, camel jockey and all this shit. And he's none of that matters. None of that matters. He's like, if you follow our ways, you follow our religion, you follow our patriotism, you have a home right there waiting for you. Just become a part of it, a part of that chain. And that was I can't believe DC Comics let me do that. But they did.
We had a very similar early 90s is all I'm trying to say from just that little glimpse of it. But here's the crazy thing, right, guys? This is the crazy thing.
Hold on. I got to say this. The only thing I regret about DC Comics and how I left and gave them a bloody nose, Ellie Munoz, is that I didn't do it harder. I would humiliate them, and I did in October. I would humiliate them 100 times harder if I could, because they deserve every bit of it for the evil they do. So go ahead, Sean.
Let me tell you this right
now.
Tell
me about your early 90s Gulf War teasing or whatever you got.
It doesn't even interest me, right? Like I will tell you, you literally just said things that are exact experiences. So we're good there. I want to talk about this, guys. And it's not just because I want to see this campaign hit 6 figures. It's not because my brother, Gabe El Taib, David, Brohawk Williams, the king, and my main man, my can of spam, it's all about money, Gary Martin, the greatest prankster or serial killer the world has ever seen. I haven't put it together yet. It's not just because it'd get to 6 figures. I want to see this campaign get to 1,776 backers. I want this campaign to get to 1776.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see happen. All right.
Right.
And that's what it's about. Yeah, here you go. 80s made consumer, my brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, no, we absolutely we need your support and we would love it. We would just I'd be so honored if anyone could jump in there and get themselves 400 copies tonight. Feel free. I won't stop you. You know what I mean? But
man.
I'm so proud of the villains because David Williams created the heroes. Truth, Justice, American Way. He's got backstories, and then I fleshed out the backstory for some of it too. And but I created the villains from whole cloth, and I love them so much. And I created their concepts. David's the visual character designer, and then I do the color. And we really, really want to let David just flex all his muscles and sing on this. But I love the name for the villain, the female villain here. I love it so much, and I love her concept. But what if I did? Is this wrong? What if I did a thing where if we get a few more subs tonight, I'll reveal it because I have so I have a computer screen here. And that's what you see, that drawing. And then I have one here, and I have her concept art up there with her name. And I love the name so much. But I think I need a few more backers if I'm going to reveal it.
Yeah, I think you do. And I want to hold on a second here. Let me see where I'm at here. I got to go because I've got your campaign. This is a scary thing. So when I wake up in the morning and I climb out of my coffin, the thing that you all have to remember is that I go into all my favorites. I've got tabs for all of my Comicsgate Brothers campaigns to see how they're doing. I actually really, and you guys know this if you watch my show, subscribe to my channel, guys. We're over 900. We're almost to 1,000 subs, and it's free to sub, y'all. Is that
do you have a link for me to throw in?
Yeah, I play trailers and everything, all that sort of stuff. But when I look at this campaign, I play Gabe's trailer, I play Narwhal's trailer, I play Michael Bancroft's trailer, all these guys, right? Von Klaus's trailers. I love it. But hold on, we got a super chat. Let's have it. Yeah.
Hey, Cranberry Langers is one of the all-timers on my channel, always on all my shows. even as his own, like, not nickname, but we had Charlie's London on, and we were teasing her about her accent, my daughter and I. And somehow from now, almost always when I see Cranberry Langers, I go, Cranberry Langers. And it just became British for some reason. And that name is so delicious sounding. I went out and bought watermelon juice one day because I was thinking of this name. So here's $2 more of support. Hey, I love it. Thank you so much. Very, very generous.
And let me say too this about Charlie's. I want to see Charlie's say. I'm begging for it. Do you know what I mean? It's say, I'm not a vet, but I know what a dog is. I just need that to be said by her. I think she could deliver it. But this is what I want to say, guys. Truth, Justice, American Way is at 917 backers. Can we get 3 more backers, guys? If you've already backed it, back a t-shirt, back any one of the little extras or add-ons down there. If we get 3 more backers, we get to 920. Maybe Gabe can do a name reveal.
Yeah, I think I'll show that concept art at least. Yeah. And you'll love that. I don't know if I'll show the name, but I'll definitely show the concept art.
As long as it's a little naughty.
It's
I mean, it already is in that image, man.
You'll love it. David Williams is a certified artistic genius, as we all know.
He is, man. He absolutely is. And getting back to this stuff here, guys, here's what concerns me. All right. And I mean this as aspirational. This is not to lament it. Mike, fan of Double Impact, with the comment there, is that we all know it, to me at least, knock on wood, we all know that it appears that woke is beginning to collapse, which means you're going to get an influx of people saying they were always against it, as we say in the South.
Right.
And the simple reality is it's not enough for this thing to collapse, because it always, it collapses in different ways, but it always has its period where it goes out of vogue. What we have failed to do is to tell a story and tell stories or replace it with something strong enough to where we understand how bad it is. For as much as people like to throw words around, words that rhyme with the game Yahtzee, as much as people like to throw that around, it should be the exact same when you throw the other word around, commie. It should be the exact same thing, considering everything that's happened.
I've got friends
who's Cambodian friends.
I agree with you.
Everybody.
I agree with you. Yeah. Totally. But we were in conflict with commies way longer than we were at conflict with Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So they are America's greatest enemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're our enemy and they're not America's enemy. They are the enemy of humanity and justice and honor and being forthright and loving and kind and generous and fair. And they're the enemy of humanity, communists. Yeah. Communism is literally from like the devil. It's from hell itself. I love in Nosferatu that little tip of the hat you put in there where the evil vampire guy's reading the Book of Evil or the Book of the Dead or something.
Yeah, it's Karl Marx in Russian.
Symbols in it.
Karl Marx in Russian. It's saying for each according to his ability and each according to their need. But this is the thing, like this shot right here, for those of you guys who know, just look at guys. I think it's safe to say, and if you're not, I don't know, maybe go get some help. But we've all, when I hear people saying things like, I'm against Yahtzees, to use the non-YouTube, screening thing. When people say that, it's not like, at least in my circles, I see a sea of people going, oh! Do you know what I mean? I think we're reasonably on that same page. Where we tend to disagree, I find, with vast numbers of people, is people who get confused which one America was in that conflict. Who defeated them, which was us. Right. That's where we have the problem. But the other aspect of it is that what were we fighting for was not territory, was not this, was not that. What we were fighting for is an ideology that is so horrific as they, I believe it was, oh my gosh. Oh, dear Lord, I'm totally blanking on his name. But what the king said in the King's speech, and I'm blanking on his name, apologies, said in his speech, he said an ideology that is so horrible that if it were to take over, it would, essentially destroy humanity. That's what we're fighting for. Individual liberty, freedom, all of these things. And why we're here tonight, why Gabe and I met, is one, because of Jean-Claude Van Damme, Hail Muscles from Brussels. But outside of that is because the removal of the American way and the descent into moral relativism. A better world, really? Whose world? A better tomorrow, really? Whose tomorrow?
Tom Taylor's world. That's what it is.
Well,
you know, we got another backer. Thank you. We're at 9:18.
You guys are getting it done, guys.
If we get to 9:19 and 9:20, I will reveal the art. I will not reveal too much more than that, though. But I will reveal the concept art of this character. I love it so much. I invented the villains. I wrote full backstories. David loves them. And it's got the David Williams, who was a character designer and animator for Batman, Superman, for Warner Brothers Animation, for Ben 10, for all of it. David, if he gives you the stamp of approval, then you done good. So I couldn't have a better partner than David. Oh, my gosh.
He's one of those artists who has such a masterful sensibility of picture making that it's impossible to say in words. You just have to own his work. You just have to buy Truth, Justice, American Way. And then, dare I say, and there you go, just got you. Hail.
Hey, Crenshaw. Let's go. Crenshaw Foul. Thank you. You will not be disappointed. David sent me new concept art of some other characters that I created that, oh my gosh, I love them so much. And David, for those of you that don't know, I know our book, the funding and all that, and the campaigning was funny in the, up until recently. And the problem was, and I can't go into detail because it is improper, David Williams' family suffered and are dealing with a horrific tragedy, a real life and death. We're praying, things are going in the right direction, but you couldn't ask the man to go to the drawing board. And we had pages ready to go. We had layouts. We wanted to ink it. We wanted to color, and we wanted to be showing pages the whole time. And I know, I'm impressed with you fans to give us nearly $60,000, and we showed you one page of the book. I told Dave, damn, we're good. We got that much money on one page. But he's back at the drawing board now for like the last 2.5 weeks, and new concept art is coming, and he's working on the pages again. But what he had to deal with, I wouldn't wish it on SJW communists. You know what I mean?
And that's the difference, right? And this is the thing. And I want to say this because I think this is one of those things we let you guys in on the experience of creating these books to the extent that we can. We certainly don't get into what's going on and what when someone's going through a serious situation, right? Because it's not our place and it's not our right. But one of the things I want you guys to understand is that when you see how your brothers in the project you're working on come in, lift you up, support you, send encouragement, and the chat does, and you see that number on this campaign moving because these fans are like, I know I'm not giving this to a corporation. I'm giving this to a singular artistic vision by these 3 creators working on these 3 heroes, trying to bring something beautiful to life. If you guys, I know you guys know this, and I know how many of you guys have backed the books. So you got nothing to prove in that regard. We appreciate every new backer. We thank every new backer, especially those of you maniacs who back multiple times and buy shirts. You guys are incredible.
Right.
But I got to tell you guys, if you needed another reason to feel good about backing this book, sometimes when you look around, you just need, and you're having a tough day and you're fighting a good fight, but you're having a tough day. One little positive moment, one little positive note can mean the difference. It can really mean the difference. And it's meant the difference to me so many times. When someone says to me, why do you do like random nice things for strangers? I always say, because I've been in a situation where a random stranger has done something nice for me at the exact moment I've needed it. And it really made me go, I will pay that forward.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's how
what it's about.
That's how I feel about our country and culture. That people who didn't even know me or you, they loved us.
Yeah.
And they loved us because love is an action. I love you. Well, it doesn't mean anything if I treat you like trash. I could say it, but do I mean it? But when you love someone, the Bible says there's no greater love than to lay down your life for your brother. And that can be literal or that can be metaphorical, that you sacrifice things that you don't have to necessarily die, but that is the ultimate sacrifice. But you can forego, I want this but that's just good for me and it's bad for them, so I won't do it. And we come across that a lot as fathers and parents and husbands. And I think what you're saying there, it is so important to make sure that we do right for others, and you don't do things to get, oh, I did this for Sean.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully he'll do something for me. Like and Sean, I remember I've told you this a few times. Why did I invite you on my show to interview you? And then we hit it off. So we created Double Impact, which is a beautiful show we do together now. But I
because
told you
it's so hard to find real, true Van Damme fans. Go ahead.
But I invited you on to publicize Nosfero to help it succeed, because I noticed you working and not asking for anything in Comicsgate.
Yeah.
Making trailers, talking to people, promoting books. And you never once said, I helped all these people and then they didn't help me. You did it because you thought it was the right thing to do. And when I see people like that, I'm like, okay, this is a real guy. This is someone who I enjoy their character, and it'll help me be a better person, and I can be more useful and more effective and more helpful. So
here's the funny thing about that. And I mean, I've told him this, but it's funny. If I can just say one quick thing about Ethan, that's really funny. Ethan has so much things will go on. I'm trying to watch my language. God help me. Literally, God help me. He's got so many things going on. I doubt he can remember most things that people have said, or said to him or talked to him about, or any of that kind of stuff, because there's a lot going on. And the thing about it is that the reason I was doing all of that stuff is because watching what he went through with the launch of Cyberfrog and watching what he went through inspired me to do my first 2 art books on Indiegogo, my first 2 successfully funded and shipped campaigns. So in a lot of ways, it was a thank you to a stranger, in a sense, who helped me as a stranger, not knowing he was helping me, by showing courage and working hard to move things forward. And this is the thing for me about this stuff. And there's one particular moment where Ethan was reading a letter from a young, science fiction or fantasy author. I don't know if you remember it. And she was saying,
and she was crushed because they were ruining her work with the inclusion and sensitivity editors at the publisher, right?
Yep, and yes. And she said something that really got him. She used the sentence, "I'm just a small fry. I'm nothing big."
Right.
And that got him. And he said, but I want you to know that you make me think it's possible. And I was moved by this young person's letter. And I said to myself, we've got to, Wolverines, dare I say.
Right.
Wolverines.
We have got to the commies ruining our culture of comics.
Here's another one. Before we stand up to them, we have to stand, which we are, but a big part of that is we're standing up to our creative brothers and the people who are in sync with us. Like, they're like, this stuff matters. They care. They're positive. They want to move things forward. Right. And this is the thing that kind of gets me, right, is that when we're looking at this kind of stuff and we're looking at the work that we're doing and we're putting this stuff together, and I'm going to blame you for this, by the way. I'm going to give you guys a stretch. I'm going to ruin your week here. I'm going to give you a stretch goal.
No,
guys. Here's a stretch goal. As Gabe was saying, it's not just about what we say. It's about what we do. When we say we care about things and we love things, we've got to do things with action.
Right. Faith without works is dead. I can claim to be anyone, but if I don't live it, then I'm not, and I'm a liar.
So here's your stretch goal. Get this out to the world, okay? And I'm going to try to make this high enough on my end so where it covers us so we don't have to do this.
What are you doing?
If my campaign gets to 40K, that should make it really good. That's an obstacle there. 40K. And your campaign gets to 80K.
Okay.
Which is close. It's got to be both, right? Okay. This is the best. I'm going to stretch your goal there, Enrique. You better believe it. Considered your goal stretched. No. Gabe and I should raise yours to 100K, by the way. Gabe and I'm
fine with whatever.
We'll do a rendition of More Than Words by Extreme.
Oh, saying I love you.
That's right.
Not the words
I'll get my daughter to learn the guitar part.
From you.
And we'll make it happen.
If you go back and find my interview with Narwhal on this channel like 2-3 months ago, I serenaded him to open the show. I sang to him for a minute. I improv'd a song, Narwhal, to the tune of Star Wars. I could play it for you. It's hilarious. I had to address this. I have to address this. Jared Weaver bought my art back in November in one of Ethan Van Sciver's awesome art auctions. It was a crazy drawing of Cecil, and he backed me again. He's a two-time backer. Thank you so much, Jared. He got us to 919 backers. Let's get one more, and I will reveal the concept art for a deliciously evil and hilarious villain.
If we one more backer to 920, but what's even scarier is, and this might be a little much to ask for anybody, but we are $53 from 58K right now. Just want to throw that out there. Holy cow, you guys are amazing.
Yeah, just the greatest.
You guys are amazing. And no, that's what I said. Mike, fan of Double Impact. I literally was about to make this joke that when I made that stretch goal promise, I'm like, the refunds are going to start pouring in.
No. No, if we sing terribly, you get to laugh at us. So you get something out of it.
Yeah. I love the chat so much, man. The chat is what keeps me going, man.
Yeah. Don't you dare. If you want to see a little bit, I showed Sean this, and I think I can show this real quick. I want to show this because I love it. This is how good David Williams is. I'm working on Beef Law. That's my next comic after Truth, Justice, American Way. And it's about illegal underground kumites and the Russian and Chinese mob. And the greatest fighter in the illegal tournaments is forced to fight against his will. And, here's a tiny bit of page 1. So it's already being inked. But David Williams is helping me do some layouts. And I was showing Sean this. I can show you this because this is rough. This is a layout for a double-page spread. And this is my drawing, but it's from some concepts that David Williams sent me.
Yeah.
So Beef Law you have to look forward to after Truth, Justice, American Way. But it's already being drawn, so don't worry about it. That's what I spend my days doing. I'm not taking any freelance, Wraith of God, anything for a few months, and I'm just going to focus on wrong button. I'm just going to focus on my book with David Williams, Truth, Justice, and focus on drawing my book, Beef Law. But I'm
We've got a question from John in the chat there.
How did he get the name Beef Law? Well, it's not his name. His name is Max Volkov, the older brother of Alex Volkov, son of Gregory Volkov, Russian immigrants to Hong Kong. It is 1994, and there are illegal underground fights in Hong Kong. And when the father runs afoul of the Russian and Chinese mobsters, his son Max is forced to fight in tournaments. Will he survive the deadly tournaments long enough to expose the powers orchestrating all this stuff? And there's drug running. Everything you love about all those action 90s, Dolph Lundgren, Van Damme, Steven Seagal, I put it in a blender, blended it up, poured it in a cake pan, baked it, and topped it with 4 inches of cream cheese frosting. It's delicious. You're going to, because no one loves this stuff more than me. No, I'll fight anyone that says they love this more than me. I love this stuff. Street Fighter 2, all of it, all the Van Damme, kickboxing, Bloodsport. I will kumite you, Shant, if you say you love this more than me. Me and Chunk have an illegal underground fight.
No, this is the reality of it. I gotta be honest. I was a fan of this book when I initially thought it was about the law of Slim Jims, and then when I found out, 1, that Slim Jims aren't actually made of meat, and 2, that the book was about something completely different, then I was crushed. Yeah, it's
Beef Law.
Gabe and I
came about. Oh, I'm sorry. Finish.
No. But I think this is important to say because when people ask us about like, oh, how'd you guys meet, blah, blah. Like with most friends that you meet, I got to tell you, I've got friends from 20 years ago. I can't remember for the life of me how we met. It just happens. Like you meet people and you're like, you have a lot of stuff in common. But it's like, I'm the guy who was like, everywhere I went, like when we were flying to India, we would stop over in Frankfurt and I would always look in these shops. They had this thing they did in Europe like crazy, which was, I guess they were called lobby cards and stuff like that, but they were basically just postcards. And they were all the posters for Van Damme's movies in different languages. And then they also had those huge fold-out posters that would go and be pasted up, but they would sell them too in certain shops that would be pasted up on the wall of like Subways and that kind of thing. And I would go and get those. And I had one of my favorite movies of all time, just because of how it hit me when I saw it, Jason Scott Lee and Dragon. And I had Double Impact, the Double Impact poster up on the wall. Yes, posters like that are works of art. 80s Made Consumer talks about old posters. We're all, I'm going to create a character that's going to cameo in Beef Law, or I'll do a backup story. of Slim Jim. That's right. It's going to happen.
I was on a podcast Monday night called Informed Dissent with these two doctors that going against the narrative of a certain thing that's been going on for 2 years. And I don't know how much YouTube will allow me to say. And it was really fun. And they wanted to know, since they're in the medical world and going against the mainstream narrative, they wanted to interview a guy like me in the entertainment world going against the narrative. And they were fascinated about what I'm doing. But one of the doctors, I believe his name was Mark, he did a year abroad as an exchange student in Japan and studied at the main Aikido school in 1993 or 4. And he said Steven Seagal popped in for a while, a couple days when he was there. And also, he can the red and the white writing on his arm there, that's real Japanese. And then the blue is the what is that called? It's called something else, but it's phonetic Japanese. It's not the real kanjis, it's the phonetic ones. It's like kankata or so. It's got a different name, but he could still read that. This guy, he's a white guy, but he can still read it. And he told me the blue coming out of his shoulder there says like Steven Segalu. That's what it says.
Wow.
Steven Segalu or something like that. It's saying Steven Seagal in Japanese. So
we talk about this is the crazy thing about it too, right? And this is what I love. You know, God, the chat. Like when I read the chat, you guys are doing awesome. You know, like
I'll say katakana. So I think katakana is the blue, like phonetic, and then kanji is the real ones. I think. So
and so when I look at this stuff, right, and I look at the people who are the collectors, right, and 80s Made Consumer is one of the most passionate collectors that you're going to find on YouTube. When he talks about what he collects and the posters he collects and the old, like the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman poster that he was looking for and the original King Kong 1930s poster that he was collecting. The thing I always say about us is that we really care about the things that we collect. Do you know what I mean? Like we love beautiful art, beautiful posters, you know, beautiful work. You know, when you hear Ethan talking about chromium and how important that is and the box and how nice the box looks and all that stuff, we really, to the limits of what we can afford without, you know, while still being an actual money-making prospect, we always try to create the most beautiful stuff. And that attention to detail that artists give and the people who love art, like people in CG, it's like, how else are you going to share it? Like when somebody backs one of our books, the one thing we know about them for sure is they're passionate about good quality work. And when I say art, I am including story in that. And so when Gabe is talking about this poster that your wife got you that you absolutely love and is one of those great works of art, and I believe was it a Japanese artist who painted it, right? What was his name?
His name is Noriyoshi Orai. I'm gonna grab something.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. And that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about, you know. And it's like we can do such amazing work and we can create things because you guys back us. I see so many people outside of CG who ask that. There it is.
My wife got me this. I keep it in my office. It's about $300. This is an original from like 1989 from Japan, from a movie theater.
Beautiful.
So got it on eBay
about
2-3 years ago. But I'd never heard of Noriyoshi Orai's work until I started looking into grabbing some art for an episode of my show I was going to do about Steven Seagal. I was going to talk about him, I think, with you. Did we ever do any Seagal movies? I don't remember.
Yeah, we did. We did that one, didn't we? We did we? Yeah.
Oh, we did. It was one of the first things we did. We've done a lot of these, you know. I mean, it's been a good 6 months.
We've done a few.
Yeah. So, and there's so many to go. There's just so many. The 80s, I mean, it's the zenith of action and adventure. It really is. And it bleeds into the early 90s. But, you know, the 70s were fun and all that, but it just hit its stride in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And who knows how much of that is this nostalgia because I was there. Maybe if I was 10 years old, I'd be like, the 70s was perfect. Like, you never know. But I don't think so because I have access to those movies and they're good, but they're not as good. There was just, I feel like in the 80s with the, you know, like the Reagan 80s, people just like, and going to the mall and the big hair and the Stranger Things now is like reflecting that. And I feel like everyone loved America and loved being American. And we were like the Dallas Cowboys winning like 3 out of 4 Super Bowls where we were just like, yes, we're awesome. This is all going great. Isn't it great to be here? That's how I felt in the 80s. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I had a single mother and stuff sometimes. I mean, she got remarried, but, we weren't rich or anything like that. I got free lunches in high school.
But you can't make it in the world if you come from like any. Never mind. I can't even finish the sentence. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
right.
No, but I mean this with love. Like, it is the greatest trick the devil ever pulled. Yeah, was to go against Denzel Washington, who said in his speech, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship," and he was absolutely right. The greatest threat to hardship is ease. Fall down 7 times. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
This is an interesting question here.
Mm-hmm.
So 76 to 95, those 19 years were the second coming of 51 to 63. I wondered what killed both those epochs, or epoch, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Time period to make it more simple.
Yeah.
I would say wokeism. You have the summer of love and all the hippy dippy left wing counterculture, SJW. It was the same sort of thing, the feminist movement and all that there in the 60s. And then you have the same thing. Political correctness got up and running in the late 90s. It didn't get any teeth until the Obama years, but it started in the late 90s. It did.
Yeah.
And it probably started way before that. I just wasn't aware of it, because I was a kid. So.
Well, that's why, but this is the interesting thing, right? That is why, guys, when we talk about this stuff, Gabe and I would argue, I could be wrong, but we are much more about civics in what we're saying, if you hear us out, than we are about politics. Because to me, whichever party doesn't think that my opponent has the right to their free speech is my opponent. Do you get what my real opponent? So that that quote I took to heart, because you were talking about in the 90s. I remember someone sitting me down and I said to them, why does, and this was a legit reality in my day-to-day, why does the KKK get to march peaceably in town when they're bad? I don't know how young I was when this came up because of things going on. And they sat down and explained to me why it was important and what was against the law, what was within the law. And it was about us demonstrating to any group that is against American ideals that our way works better. And it was an act of courage to say our way works better. As long as you do not break our laws, your speech is protected.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
No, you have to.
It's like when I was looking at our campaigns, and this is the craziest thing about it, man. I was looking at our campaigns, and this is, guys, it's inch by inch, it's yard by yard. It's how we do these things. My campaign and Gabe's campaign, because of you guys, and it starts with all of you, we are so close. He's one backer away from 920 and really close to flipping to 58. And I just looked, I'm one backer away from flipping to 24K. One backer away from flipping to staying gold, which is my favorite thing in the world to say. Stay gold.
Stay gold, pony boy.
Yeah, stay gold, pony boy. Because my friends, here's something about fights. Seriously, guys, I love my friends. My childhood friends were lunatics, but we all got nicknames, and I used to say stay gold, pony boy, and they go, that works. And I said, why? Because you're Johnny, man. You're totally good. You're gonna get wrecked, kid. And I died laughing. But no, it's guys, honestly, it's outsiders ever do that one. No, we haven't yet. And for CG team, I'm actually working on a group shot of us as the outsiders.
Oh, that's funny. I wanted to address this comment because it's getting away from us.
Yeah,
when I'm saying maybe the 80s, it is just nostalgia, but here's a man that was there on the ground, Charles Lee. Gabe, you guys, I think he meant lived in the 70s. Yeah. You can keep it. I spent plenty of time with Mr. Peanut, Jimmy Carter, and was never so happy to see Ronald Reagan in the 80s kick off like it did. Yeah, that's the vibe I got with Trump. And I thought the first Trump presidency was going to be the Reagan 80s. I told people that. And it was a golden age. It was until you know what hit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on here. And look at that. That I might not be allowed to say the vid, And remember, it was, and there were the facts like Hispanic unemployment, Black unemployment, Asian and women and blah, 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 and home ownership for African Americans. And everything was like at these Reagan 80s America. Like, this is so awesome being here. And then the thing happened, the 2-year thing that YouTube might get mad at me for mentioning happened. And we're recovering though. That's what's awesome. And I was talking to my wife. about a lot of the
Go ahead,
chaos and the rioting and all the horrible stuff you see. And the news is programmed to terrorize you. That's how they get eyeballs and sell ads. But if you look at the arc of human history, we're winners. As a species of creatures, we are survivors. So be hopeful, and then we believe in God. I don't know about you in the audience. I hope you do. But if you don't, I'm not going to judge you. But we believe in God, and my God is bigger than anything. So I don't worry about it. I ain't afraid. So I am hopeful for the future. And I think that's the only way to be. I think gratitude is faith, and fear and negativity, that's also faith, but it's evil, reverse faith. It's faith in evil. And only thinking evil has power and can happen. And I think gratitude is realizing what a miracle even the tiniest mundane thing is. That why could that even exist? How lucky am I to have a toothpick running water? You know what I mean? And I think if you can get yourself there sincerely, sorry, Shant, I'll let you go in just a second. If you can get yourself there, you can get yourself there. And I'm not where I want to be yet on gratitude, but if you can fight for it and just try to be radically, almost unreasonably grateful, man, does it help your life out a ton. It fixes your attitude and you become more useful, more hopeful, more brave. You won't give up as easily, and then you can inspire others. So go ahead. Sorry.
No. I'm only sorry for interrupting there, but I was just thinking about this, and I was just thinking about what you were talking about in terms of gratitude, in terms of everything we do. And I said this to my wife, and I go, we're sitting here talking about movies. That is what Red Dawn is about. Red Dawn is a movie from somebody that is very optimistic. He says, these things we have, we could lose them, but losing these external things that are product of the American spirit will not kill the American spirit if we as individuals who are indivisible, dare I say, with liberty and justice for all.
That's right.
If we do not lose the American spirit, we can keep that alive and make this possible. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Right. And that's where this art comes from. And I will tell you this, guys, I would rather live in a country where people who hate me can march peaceably and freely than live in one where they can destroy things with impunity and punish people for speaking free. But by the way, I will say this. I think that the situation we have been in has been like a very large, ill-tempered pit bull who is sleeping really hard and has been being harassed. And he's really, every single time this pit bull gets harassed, it says, I really want to sleep more than I want to deal with this. And finally, it's like, well, I can't sleep, so now I'm getting up.
Right.
And that's all it is.
I told my daughter this when she was a teenager. It is egregious for a man to strike a woman. We all know this. We're too big. We're too powerful. It's wrong. You don't hit babies. You don't hit elderly. I am 6'4". I lift weights 4 times a week. I don't go around beating up people because how wrong would that be? I'm too big. I'm too strong. And I have a sense of justice about these things. But I told my daughter when she was a teenager, I needed to tell her this because she's a woman and women don't get this and men do. Men live with violence being this far away at all times. Shant, you understand it. I understand. I love you, Shant. You're an actual friend of mine. We can get in a fight. If we were in person, we can get in a fight in the next 2 minutes if I said the magic words to you, right? Said stuff about your wife and got in your face.
So here's all I'm saying is, no, if my wife is Jada Pinkett, though, I'm going to let you go. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
My point is, as men, we're just born knowing this, that violence is right there. And there's a code, and that's what keeps the peace. And women don't know that, and it's not a criticism of women. They have a different experience. But I told her that in life. Don't go around pushing people's buttons and doing weird stuff and getting in anyone's face. And she's not that way. But I just had a talk with her one day. I said, and this is about that sleeping pit bull that you're talking about. I told her, don't look for the line because you can find it. Don't look for that. And, and I talked to my son about similar things, but boys know it because we get in fist fights growing up and we realize, when I said his mama was fat, he decked me. When I was in a freshman or sophomore year of high school, we were talking and, just making fun of each other, me and another football teammate. And then he said, "You're not like I got your mom last night or something." And I clocked him. And the coach was like 20 yards away, ran up. "What are you doing, El Taib? What are you punching for?" And I said, he said he whatever with my mom. And the coach looked at him and looked at me and said, I would have hit him too, and walked away. And then the teammate, he looked at me like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. And that's a thing that men understand. Like, dude, there's a line. And,
remind me to tell you about my fight strategies after this, because you will die laughing. No, I may share them one day with you guys, but oh my God, man.
Hold on. Breaking news. Breaking news,
What's
Sean.
Breaking news, though? What is it? What could it be, Gabe? I've been looking at the chat. What could it be?
I think something has happened.
We got to look at where's truth. Where's truth?
Let's see. Oh, come on. Oh!
Boom! Wow!
Oh,
wow!
Wow! We flew past 58,000 at about 4,000 miles an hour.
Whoa.
Wow! That just needs a few more of these. I have an app on my phone. I have an app on my phone that literally that's all it does is play the horn.
That's the most guy thing I've ever heard on the phone. I have an app that just plays that one sound.
There's an app called Ham Horn. Oh, listen,
holy
kids,
boys
and girls, kids of all ages. Let me give you a sincere thanks from the bottom of my heart for doing that. That just touches me. David Williams' family's been through so much, and we wanted to show you so much more art. Your book is coming. He's back to work. The family, they're on the right track. Keep praying. You know, they're doing everything they can with this situation. And he sent me some art today, and I can't show you that because it's sketches. And David is a perfectionist, and he doesn't allow me to show sketches almost ever. He doesn't want them out there. And but new character stuff. We will be showing you pages coming, and I know some of you haven't backed because you've seen one page. I totally get that. I totally understand that. But when you see more and you love them, I want you to back. For those of you that back tonight, I can't say thank you enough. I love it. So to be a man of my word, to be an absolute man of my word, this is concept art from David Williams for one of the villains here that I am so proud of that I created. Here's a little bit of the concept art for her. I'm looking. It's on my screen. It's not on yours.
Everyone in the chat is hoping it's going to be a malfunction. You're just going to show everything. Wow, man.
Yeah. So this is just some marker stuff from Dave, and she's got her cat there. She's got her fake boobs and her fake butt and her fake lips.
Click
and
that
everything.
green button. Let's get that window full screen and then enhance, magnify.
This is a very small JPEG, so it's a little pixelated.
I don't care, man. I want to see those pixels.
Yeah,
dude. You guys get how you guys have got when I say that Gary Martin wrote the book on inking. That's not a figure of speech.
Right.
He literally wrote the book on inking.
Right. Now,
when we say David Williams is the man, Gabe El-Taib is the man, we're being legit here. This book is going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I got one other thing about it. I have a second image that I think I'm going to show. Hold on. I deleted her name off that image, but I don't care anymore. I want to tell you the name because I consider myself a comedy guy. I did a Dilbert Garfield style strip in college for 2 years. That's how I started.
Won an award, right? Is that the one that won
an award? It's called Higher Education. It starred a monkey and a penguin that were like frat boy bros, and they got into college adventures. And all I did for 2 years is win every effing award you can win, including first place from Columbia University 2004. I'm very funny, and I have documentation. So this name makes me so happy because it epitomizes everything I hate about postmodern, feminist, cancel culture, SJWs. I love the name of this character.
Girl Boss. There you go.
Girl Boss. Now, I will not tell you anything else about her because David will want to choke slam me. But you will love this character. The villains need to be so awful that that you're justified in what the good guys do to them. But this is Girl Boss. You're welcome. I came up with that, and the other villains you'll see they have great names and personalities and stuff too. But this is real fun. So when I told Dave the premise on her about being a phony and all that, he went to town with the plastic surgery. So that woman there is actually, I'm joking, but she's I think she's 70% silicone. You know what I mean? and the other 30% of her body weight is just her iPhone and whatever drug she's on or whatever. She's trash, this person.
Why is it when I picture David watching us. I picture that view from Olympus from the movie Immortals. You know, he's standing up there in a toga with a lightning bolt looking down.
Right. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
her superpower and all that, I won't reveal any of that yet, but stuff is coming. You know, we've got 5 books. We've got 5 months to finish the book. We're in fine shape now. But I do apologize for being so mysterious, because if I were you, I would have been irritated with me too. And I would have been like, Gabe, we keep asking for pages. We keep asking for this and that. What's going on? And I couldn't tell you about his family troubles. And they're as bad as it gets, the stuff. But we're very hopeful and things are going better. You know what I mean? And we're praying. Yeah. And he's recovered emotionally a lot. And he's back at the drawing table for like the last 2.5 weeks. But he was, and if you wondered why I quit those morning streams, I felt flattened too. I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to promote the book. I didn't want to go on streams. Shelf knows I canceled this show like 2-3 weeks ago or whatever, remember? Yeah, man. And I canceled the Players Club show that I do on Tuesdays. That's a great show, by the way. I canceled my show for like a week or two. I didn't want to do anything either because of the stuff that was going on. And I just kind of, all I did for the better part of 3 weeks in the middle of my campaign is like lift weights and then like watch like old classic Westerns and just like pray and be upset. And but we're on our feet because God is good. So, you know.
Yeah, ain't no weak people in CG. And to quote the Charlo brothers, the Charlo twins, lions only. That's all it is, man.
Did this guy back thrice?
Yep.
No. Wait a minute.
You have it, man. Jared Weaver.
Is he that guy? Hold on. Jared Weaver. Oh my gosh, Jared. Listen, Jared, you already have my email. But email me to remind me. You're going to get a little something special when you get your stuff. Okay? But you got to email me to remind me, because I have a I have a text edit document on my computer for special customers, my art contest winners, and certain special request things. And I take people's names, addresses, phone numbers, and I have it in there. But just send me your stuff tonight or whatever, and I'll take care of you, because this is great, man. This is great of you to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean, if you're the praying type, pray for the Williams family. They're feeling hopeful and good, and oh boy, you know, I won't say anymore. But thank you so much for backing. You guys made my day with that. I think Girl Boss is one of the funniest concepts I've ever come up with. I'm a huge fan of Keith Giffen with all his Lobo shenanigans. Because Lobo was crazy, but it wasn't filthy like Deadpool. You know what I mean? Not as filthy. It was crazy though. Well, Deadpool is a special kind of filth. You know, famously, I hate Deadpool. Because I think it's just hateful. I think it isn't funny. I think it's funny, hateful, which I don't like. Yeah, you know, so.
And let me say this too, man, because, look at these guys, man.
This is insane. They're not insane, but this is beautiful, I should say.
It is.
This is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You guys are great. And if you don't want to back to see more pages, I don't blame you at all. If you will back based on 1 page and 3 covers, I love you. But if you got to wait, if you got to wait, dude, I get it. And they're coming. They're finally coming. So, wow, Shant, thanks for pushing me on this, Shant, because, you know, I wasn't going to do that tonight, but that's a really fun thing to show people. And I love the reaction.
We never know what's going to happen when we do this show, guys. Like, it's just 2 brothers talking about the stuff they're passionate about, who love art, love Comicsgate, love you guys. And it's you guys, you know, we love getting to hang out and talk to each other every week, but it wouldn't be what it is if we didn't have you guys. Like, we miss you guys when we miss a week. You know what I mean? And however we're feeling before a stream starts, you know, it's like, you know, we've had, as you were saying, we've had some tough times where we've had to regroup before a stream and go in and do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's been a time I've come on here before the show with you, Shant, and I said, dude, can you carry us? Because I don't know if I had a bad day or if I felt tired or something. But I know I've asked you that at least once, if not more than once. If you could just.
Yeah, and the camera, and all of a sudden my camera comes on and you see that I'm laying on the floor with a bottle of Jack. And you say, okay, maybe you can't carry us or shouldn't be even trying to stand. But listen, I got to say this too, right, guys? Is as much as we think this show can get more insane. Gabe, if you could go to Nosfero real quick.
Oh, absolutely. Matt, let me. Oh, did something happen? Hold on. Where did it go?
Words fail me as they often do.
Hold on.
I'm never at a loss for words, but they often fail me.
I closed the window of Truth Justice, and it had Nosfero on the second window. So I'm opening a new one. Give me a second. Okay. Boom. Here we is. Did we do something?
Yeah, we did. We were.
What were you at? What were you at?
We were at 23 with a ways to go, and we just smashed through 24K.
I want to know right now which one of you backed this book. Right now.
Which one of you Wolverines backed this book?
Yeah, you're a father. You ever get so mad you don't open your teeth when you're talking to your kids? I want to know right now which one of you did this to the.
Somebody tell me how that bunny was able to eat a cell phone. You know, that kind of thing, you know.
Oh, goodness.
How did that rabbit get into the Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
This is past Comics and Gates. Friendship, brotherhood, love, honor, and respect. It's in high demand and short supply. Glad to be a part of the fun, guys. No, you're just totally right. And I love having you as a mod here. I think you became a mod because you were the first person to super chat me. And we were so excited to have a super chat. I remember, let me look in my desk. I'm going to go off camera and go to my drawing desk. It's right over there. I'm going to find something my daughter gave me to commemorate some YouTube stuff. It's one of the sweetest things I've ever gotten. So go ahead, Sean, or carry it, but I'll scream to the mic across my room.
Yeah, we talk about you guys all the time in terms of like when we're on stream. We talk about, you know, what you guys are up to and letting us know stuff. And you know, I was just thinking about, you know, when you came on the stream and you came, you know, in the chat and you said, hey, my youngest just had, you know, gave me, I think it was was it fourth or fifth grandson? I think it might have been a fourth, but I could be wrong. And that's the thing I love about being on this stream, you know. It was great. I put it in the Comicsgate Live green room when Scottsley said, I just backed my first Comicsgate book. And I said, this is what it's all about, guys. This is what it's all about, man. Like that's I'm so honored when I hear stuff like that, when people talk about how excited they are, because, you know, this thing starts out small, and as it grows, you guys are going to, I'm telling you guys, as people start going, oh, how can I be Comicsgate more and more? Because, it's happened. It's already happened. But you guys remember when we were out in the woods, man, trying to make this stuff happen. No idea.
You want to talk about out in the woods? Mm-hmm. So I started YouTubing seriously like 4 or 5 years ago. Then I walked away from it because I realized I couldn't be effective because I was muzzled by DC Comics. Mm-hmm. And then when I went Comicsgate, I came back. So I didn't post videos for like a year and a half. But when I used to post, my daughter made me these little paper hats the day that I got 100 subs. Oh, let me turn off the green screen effect. That killed it. Settings, virtual background, turn off the green screen. No, how do I turn it off? Can you see them now?
You're talking to another. Oh, so, man.
I'm not an old guy. Oh, virtual back. Oh, none. There you go. I had to click none. Yeah. So she made me these little paper hats. One says Hundo subs, and the other says 100 subs, Hundo subs. And when you buy my book and you buy Sean's book, this is what you're supporting: a daughter proud of her father, out there hustling, making it happen. You know, living the dream and all that, and paying the price. And it's all God's blessing. You know, I'm not giving myself all the credit, but that's what you're supporting when you do this, and you're getting great art. So I'm humbled by what's happened here tonight. You know what I mean? I think it's fantastic. You know,
it is. It really is. It's great stuff, and you guys are awesome. You know, and if you had told me that we'd get to sit around talk about Red and when I'm looking at the chat and I'm hearing the conversations you guys are having, and everybody is, you know, everybody in CG, it's like we throw ideas out there, and we it's almost like crowdsourcing, you know, it's almost like crowdsourcing our knowledge base, because, you know, we've got people from every demographic who are like, I was there. Oh yeah, I remember because I served during that time. Oh yeah, I remember because I was the same age. I lived through that area, you know, that time, that era. I did this, you know, look at this, right? Second CG book today. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what it's all
yours
about,
was the first for Scottsley. That's amazing. Look at this here. Nana is trying to keep a macho facade going. He has rain in there. Here's a pro tip from a macho man like me, big weightlifting, strong badass. When you have to cry, go into the shower. That way even you can't see the tears. Huh?
Oh, here's my thing, and I don't like to talk about because Gabe, I don't want to Gabe feel bad, but, you know, as a guy who's 7'2" and works out 9 days a week, one of the things that I find, you know, is that I can be intimidating, you know, whether it's my arthritis, my asthma, or my diet of Slim Jims. There's different things that intimidate people. or that failed attempt I had to rush Dave Chappelle on stage. But my point is this.
There you go.
Is that when I come in here, this stuff, guys, I always say this, and this is, yes, absolutely. I think Amber Heard would have done well to have that today. She was basically like, and I'm just so sad. And it looked like C-3PO trying to muster emotion. But, or the T-800,
We got the answer here. That Nostero
what's up, man?
I think Crenshaw Fowl also blocked me. What a day. Thank you.
You guys are amazing. Thank you. Yeah, it's the pound cake, Sean. The pound cake.
You know what I get to do for those of you that backed me tonight? What I get to do is when I talk to David Williams tomorrow, and he gives me more art instruction, and he gives me more awesome layouts for a beef law, and we're talking about, oh my gosh, the stuff in Truth Justice, the character design stuff he just sent me for some more characters coming later in the book. I want to show it, and Dave will get so mad, so I'm not going to. I get to tell Dave, hey, Dave, we crossed 58 last night. And that's amazing to me, and I love to, because Dave, he is the most pure artist I've ever worked with. He doesn't care about marketing and this, that. He wants to draw. He wants to draw and take care of his family. That's what he wants to do. Be with his wife, his kids, his grandson. And that's Dave. He came on the Players Club last night, but Dave doesn't look at Indiegogo. Dave didn't put the Indiegogo together. I'm the one that's going to go do the TV interviews and all that stuff soon. Dave wants to make the art, and he's built for it. God gave him something special. And you know it. When people as good as me and Shant, as good as we are at drawing and painting and all things we do, when we look over at a guy like Dave and go, how do you do that? Like,
with a few
like
Ys.
It's like we're in the NBA. We're in the NBA, we're good. And then we go look over at Michael Jordan and we're like, what's he doing? Like, how did he do that?
Yeah. And the thing I want to say this too, guys, and I know you guys don't, but I have to say it because it's the kind of thing I'll regret, if I don't say it, which is this: never underestimate how much, when you're going through a tough time, starting your day off with somebody lifting you up a little bit, somebody giving you that news, hey, we just cracked 58,000, and how that can affect the flavor of the day. And it can affect, it could be something as simple as, I always tell people, I always try, and hail Angela Curry, it's great to see you here, by the way. I always try to tell my wife in the morning, when I see her, I always say, you look beautiful, before she goes to do what she's got to do, before we go our separate ways. Those little things are important. Like I told my son, like, maybe because I'm cheap or whatever, but I always used to cut, my friends and I used to always cut each other's hair when I was coming up. I cut my own hair, which is not as easy as you'd think. It's hard to do a fade backwards with two mirrors, but I cut my son's hair and I go, what do I want you to remember from me cutting your hair, kid? Because, he's always worried. He would go, his mom would take him for a haircut and they would just scalp him and he would just be like, ah. And so I would cut his hair. And I was cutting his hair and I said, what do I want you to remember, man? And he goes, that I should learn how to cut my son's hair. I was like, not exactly what I was going for, but I said, I want you to remember that every time, for however long I'm living, you never know. I want you to remember how your dad looked at you and really focused on you when he cut your hair and thought about making you doing the best job he could so you could go out into this world. Do you know what I mean? And put your best foot forward. Yeah. And you and I have talked about this, and it's not to this ain't for, playing the world's smallest violin or any of that stuff. It's just that, you can be the adult you needed when you were younger and you can move stuff forward. You can make the art that you believe that will uplift people and that they want to see. And artists did that for me. So as far as I'm concerned, and fellow Americans did that for me in terms of my liberties and my freedoms, all I want to do is pay it forward, guys. That's what it is. Oh. I'm going to the light, John. Sorry, John, don't go to the light.
Not yet.
Like, I'm going to the light, man.
We need you. You're too funny. You're too talented. That's my whole life philosophy. That thing I said like an hour ago, like people that didn't even know us loved us. And they loved us because they died for us. They struggled for us. They fought for us. They just think of the old world just 100 years ago. You could die of any, like a tooth infection. You could die of that. Now they'll get it out, get your tooth out, get you a fake tooth. I have a fake tooth right here. I got a root canal on this side, 10 years ago. They made me the tooth in the office in this lathe they had, carved it out of porcelain and put it on the same day. I got a root canal and it was painless. The only thing that bothered me about the root canal is that it took like an hour and a half.
Yep.
And then I go to Tijuana and I see two men in under 1 minute that don't have eyes begging me for money, and I become ashamed. I become ashamed that Oh, McDonald's closed at 11. I wanted to get a iced tea. It's 11:05. Like I'm complaining about that. It's crazy. How good we have it here and how we can, and me too, not you. I'm not saying I'm better than you, but I'm not worse than you. We're all in this together. It's so easy to forget to be grateful because the stuff we start to take it for granted so easily.
No one, this is the thing, for whatever people want to say about how things are going, and I got to say, and hail to you, man. Hail to you, Crenshaw. This is the thing, right? Is it, however things are going, I want you guys to remember this. We have the luxury in this technological age to meet each other in this forum. Right. Once you meet somebody, you remember them. You can't undo that. You can't undo meeting somebody and knowing somebody exists and knowing somebody, is passionate about the things that are going on. Every single week we do this and you guys come in here is a blessing of technology and how fortunate we are to be where we're at. And I never take it for granted when you guys show up, ever. On my channel, on this channel, whenever we're streaming, and Gabe's doing his show with Dan Lawless, with Aaron Lopresti, and I've got to make sure I got everybody's name. Who else am I thinking of? Oh my gosh. Gary Martin. When you guys are doing that show, and you guys are talking about work, I'm tuning in and I'm checking it out, man. Do you know what I mean? And I'm excited to see it. And I see everybody in the chat. I'm so proud, man. I'm so happy for you. Like that people are excited because I know all those guys, and those guys are my CG brothers, and you guys are my CG brothers and sisters. Backing us and backing these books.
Yeah.
Charlie's London, another great example.
Yeah. I just did a spoiler. I did the cover for the next Charlie's London with Graham Nolan. Can't show it, but I love it. I'm very happy with it. So, she's great, and I was honored to work for her. I love this here. This is very deep. This is very intimate, very intense, but I don't think I disagree. We're all part of each other now. We're all united, arms locked. That's golly, I love football so much for what it does for men. Before the kickoff, you have your 4 captains, and they go out elbows locked, and you go out there to go flip the coin and all that. And it's such a great simulation of warfare. You got your coaches or your generals, you got your soldiers, your players, and all that. And you bleed together, and you fight together, and you get hurt together, and you get scared together, and you win together. And it teaches you so much about life that if I can stand up for things, and I can have a mouthful of blood, but I can wipe it out and I can get on my feet again, you might look at me and you won't fade because you said, damn, I got to get up too. But if I shrink and I'm like, and I run away, then I can hurt you too. That's why it's important for me to try to live right. That's why when the walls were closing in at DC, again, my only regret is I didn't leave sooner and that I didn't humiliate them more because it's vile what they're doing in a very real way. It's vile. But for me to stand up and to give up a job like that, where as a minority, I could do whatever the hell I wanted. I could have TV shows and movies or whatever. If I just did the SJW playbook and I attacked Ethan and then I said America sucks and I did all the things, I would have risen right to the top if I wanted to. You know what I mean? And I know that. And that's how you know I'm not like a crazy golem, like about money and all that stuff. I want to be rich, of course, but I want it the right way. I don't want dirty money. I don't want it like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I will add one critique to what you're saying. You and I could both do anything in our jobs except for keep our mouth shut and sit by silently. that was our Achilles heel. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And I'm not that guy. And I've always been this guy my whole life. I'm the one.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I have this vision because I don't live where there's a subway, or a train. But I always picture like people sitting on a train, and then a crazy person's going down the middle of the train, takes his pants off, poops in his hands, is screaming, and nobody says anything. Everyone just looks at their phone and goes, "Oh my God, I hope he stops." I'm the one that stands up and straightens the guy out. I don't know why I've always been that way. But
it's like, and the same thing, right? With me, every time I'm on the subway and I take my pants off and I'm screaming and I poop the seat or whatever, I'm that guy. Not everybody on the subway is going to do that, Gabe, but some of us answer to a different power. It's Zeus. Right. But that's not the point. That's not the point, man.
You know how brave I have to be to tackle a man holding poop in his hands? That's not a fight you want.
That's not a fight I'm doing, Gabe. I'm that guy on the subway going, you go get him. But listen.
See, this guy knows where I'm from. Greeley, Colorado. It's a rough little town in northern Colorado. It's got a college, it's got a university, and then it has something else going on too. So, No, it's genetic, but it's also culture. It's my my Christian heritage, my American heritage, strongly given to me by my mother's side of the family. And even though my father's Muslim, he stood up against Gaddafi quite literally when he was in college at the University of Tripoli, and they murdered his friends. They put my dad on kill lists. They killed my grandfather in an accident and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
I am not descended from fearful men. And if my dad can stand up to murdering dictators and my grandfather can fight in the Pacific and put up with actual racism back in the 30s and the 40s, surely I can stand up to a fat blue-haired land whale editor at DC Comics. It's not a big ask. It's not a big ask.
Look at this chat, man. You guys are crazy, man. Like, I'm reading through this chat. Eddie's Made Consumer was just asking me, and Hail, brother, it's great to see. I've been loving his videos he's doing. He's been kicking ass. But Eddie's Made Consumer was asking me how he gets a hold of the art books that I've got that are sold out. Thing is I think there's still some left as an add-on. Art books 1 and 2 are available. So if you back the book, then you get to the add-on section of my campaign. There's still some available. I think I haven't checked in a while, but I think they're available.
If I'm in here and I click to buy the book, I'll get to a second screen right before I finish our order, and they'll say, "Would you like to add on the art books?" I'm gonna go off screen and click and see if that's true. I've already backed it, but I'm gonna go check.
And if you accidentally don't dox yourself, if you could just send me your social security and credit card number.
Right. Are you that Nigerian prince that I've been talking to?
No, I'm that person who said you've won $1 million. I just need your credit card information and your cell phone so I can transfer it to your account. But by the way, I gotta just say this real quick because I'm watching Angela Curry and Nana talking to the chat. I will tell you what, the second that baby starts sleeping through the night, that grandson starts sleeping through the night, that granddaughter starts that daughter, I'm sorry, starts sleeping through the night. And that's a really good feeling when you're a mom, is when that kid's sleeping through the night. And yes, Jennifer Grey was in Red Dawn. And we were to Angela Curry.
And her whole nose was in it too. This is pre-nose job. Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah. Wait, which one with an Indian accent? Because I can make it happen, man.
Tell me, how is my Indian accent? Is it okay?
That's all right. You got to have two. If you're good, you got to have two. You've got to have upper crust, which is you've got to say, Angela Curry, give me what you want me to read, and I'll do it. But yeah, there's two Indian accents. There's the aristocratic, and then there's the one that everybody knows that everyone, of course, always thinks they can do. It's the trickiest accent in the world, man. Hey, what's up, Dan Lawless? Speaking of your crew, baby, there you go.
Yeah. We have fun on Tuesday nights right here on this channel. We have the Players Club. Me, David Williams, Aaron Lopresti, Gary the Assassin Martin, Dan Lawless, and now Sergio Cariello joined the crew.
Gotcha.
We are on that show. We are art nerds. We are bringing up all the great old stuff from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. And we are just saying who we loved and why we loved them. If you're a comic book art nerd, I think comics at their essence are just the pencil and the paper and the ink. You know what I mean? There's painted comics, like Ashant has painted comics, but we go deep into, like, my favorite comic book artist of all time is Nestor Redondo. And what he does with ink is insane, but it's what he doesn't do. His use of negative space is insane. I have to Google him a little bit. I'll pull up some Nestor.
I'll do my Indian accent for Angela Curry because she wanted me to do the credit card scam with an Indian accent. So I'm going to try to do this. So here you go.
Do.
Let me see if I can do it here. What do I do? Let's see here. So hello, Angela. This is Kevin. This is Kevin Taylor from Skokie, Illinois. That is my natural place of habitat. I was just calling because I'm interested in giving you $1 million, and I was hoping you could give me your social security number and your credit card and a blood sample. This is absolutely above board. Let me tell you, nothing to worry about, okay? So if you could give me a call back here in Skokie, Illinois, my number is 555-333-7892. Thank you. Namaste.
That's exactly how Americans speak. Yes.
No scam detected. That was Kevin from Skokie.
Now, was that the regular Indian or was that the upper crust? Who was that?
No, the upper crust is well, first of all, let me say that we're very thrilled that you could be with us today on the Double Impact. We're very excited to be here today. It is thrilling. I want to say hello to Dan Lawless. He is from the Grosse Pointe Woods. He's enjoying it. I want to say a sweet lullaby. I sent a sweet lullaby for Nana's new grandson. We could not be more thrilled by how this is all going. Take care.
So why the upper crust is soft?
The upper crust is it's the same thing as the South, right? It's who were the people who you were dealing with, and so one is more British, and the other one is more Scotch-Irish. Walked through your language. That's the funniest thing about it, you know. And so, like when people do Southern accents, it's the exact same thing. Here's a Southern accents that I grew up around. Or these are generic Southern accents, but it's well, first of all, I have to tell you that what we're talking about, son, is something that. Well, here's what one of my deans said when I was coming up. He called me in the office. He goes, "Mr. Engetti, if I can give you a word of friendly advice, it would be do not piss into the wind." That was his bit of advice. And then there's the other one. Through the nose, right? Yeah. This all my friend's father was a banjo player in a country band, and he had his thing was music sung from the heart through the nose. And he used to say things like, "Hey, Engetti, do me a favor, man. Could you try not to piss into the wind?" That was the other version.
Oh my gosh! Now,
good Lord,
what is the hi y'all? Is that like a North Carolina thing or something like that?
Well, Mandy's is to me anyway. I think Mandy's is in northern Georgia, and I grew up in Chattanooga, which is basically right across the border. So that's like a Tennessee, Georgia accent. Okay. So we don't say Tennessee, we say Tennessee. The Tennessee accent's often, "I'm from Tennessee." Tennessee, huh? Yeah, I'm drinking some Hennessy.
Right. Okay. So Tennessee.
I've got a Hemi in my car. That's what it is, man.
I can do a East LA Mexican. I can do a Filipino because my best friend is Filipino.
Two of my groomsmen Filipino, man.
That's right. Yeah. Whenever I call like customer service to whatever, you're calling it for something, and like I'll go, "Are you in the Philippines?" And they're like, "Oh yeah," and then they'll tell me where they're from, and they're really proud of it. But I can always hear that one when people talk about it. But I remember, dude, I was in fucking San Diego Comic-Con. I was in the green room, and we were teasing Brian Cunningham because he was going to move from New Jersey to LA, and he was going to start a gang. He was my editor on like Green Arrow, so we were calling him El Más Chingón. And in Spanish, I'd be like, that would be like the big fucker, like the big fucker, the big bad. Excuse my language. Man. But if you know Brian Cunningham, he's small. He's very polite. Yeah. He's very quiet. He's very kind. He's a great editor at DC for years. He got laid off with COVID stuff, I believe, when they laid off a bunch of the workers. Mm-hmm. But we were teasing about being El Más Chingón, me and my wife.
Yeah.
And then a horrible, and this is how racist SJWs are. Evil racist editor Andy Curry. I will never back down from that. If I told you guys some stuff about that guy, he wouldn't do the accent. Because he was sitting like near me at the table, and he was kind of in the conversation tangentially, and I asked him, "Can you do it?" And he refused to do it because it was racist. And in my head, I'm like, "How is it racist? People really talk like this, and they're not idiots." When someone has an accent, it means they're a polyglot. It means they're pretty smart. They speak multiple languages. It doesn't mean they're stupid. And I don't know, accents are fun. I think they're really fun. So,
well, I'll tell you this, right? I've got some friends, and I will say this is that who are Filipino, and I wonder if they're real friends, because especially one of my brothers whose family's all in the Philippines. Yeah, I have vapors.
Have the vapors.
I have vapors. Mandy's is bless your heart. That's Mandy's. That's her Southernism. And that's what I grew up around. But I'll say this:
that means F you, right? In the South. Well,
no, bless your heart is basically like saying you sweet summer child. It is like an utterly but you know what I mean. It's like, oh, bless his heart, he's a sweet boy, but about as sharp as a sack of wet mice. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Jeremy Lloyd Crackhead 33, my New England brother? Love you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, you're coming in late. We talked about it, but yeah, it's a great, fun movie. I'd never seen it before. And just to quickly review that, the thing that I found so striking, the story is awesome. The theme, the pacing, they're like, we don't have time to explain. This is happening. And it's frantic, the pacing. It's pretty cool. So I like it.
The tagline for that movie should be, and for those of you guys coming in, I got to say this. The tagline for that movie should be lifted from Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows, one of my favorite lines in a movie. Not my favorite movie of all time, but it's got some great stuff in it, where he goes, explain. He goes, by the time I explain, we'd both be dead. I think that's kind of what this movie is.
Who doesn't love a great turn of phrase? I was watching The Rifleman, the show that started in 1959 with Dodgers third baseman Chuck Connors as the Rifleman with his son in North Fork, New Mexico, back in the pioneer cowboy days, whatever. And he was facing off with some bad guys in the saloon, and like, you've been dealt a bad hand, McCain. He's all, well, then start dealing. I'm like, damn, that's good. I'm gonna have to steal that for Beef Law. You know, I love those lines. Does Nosferatu have any quips?
He has a few. I'm gonna see how they fit, because right now there's just a lot of different stuff. But I was just seeing somebody saying, gosh, where is he? Von Beck is saying, I just spent 7 weeks working down in Durham. Most were slow speaking, walking, working, but some weren't. Booming town. Duke is a religion down there. Yes, and Christian Leitner is one of their, and Bobby Hurley are two of their patrons. I had a family member who attended Duke during the repeat year. Freshman year was the Duke team's repeat. Oh, and Angela Curry, Red Dawn is on Hulu. I'm gonna watch it. Angela Curry, I had to tell you this. We had a conversation that I'm sure you're on the same page with before you got here, where I begged and I know you probably know this, but I'm just saying, I'm guessing you agree with me that any young woman who is a star of incredibly charismatic beauty, do not mess with perfection and get a nose job. And whenever I see Jennifer Grey, I always am reminded of that. Of like, do not take a knife to your face, right? When people have fallen in love with your look as a person, and it kills me.
Your entire body and become made of silicone,
or become girl boss.
Right? Yeah. That.
And yes, John. Yeah, past 24K. We are staying gold. We are at gold. 24K. Yeah, guys. You guys made this a memorable stream like you always do. Yeah, I agree, Angela Curry. My heart breaks a little bit when I see it too. I mean, how many people, I just wonder, do I need to build a time machine, go back in time and say, you're beautiful just the way you are, just in case someone hasn't screamed it at you in a while. And then I'll just scream, Wolverines, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You'll stand on top of any embankment and just shout,
that's
Wolverines.
Right. So did you hear about Schampf? He's no longer in CG. He was killed. He's apparently did a string of standing on embankments, screaming at strangers, Wolverines, and finally somebody just took him out. You know.
Let's see. Oh, Jared Weaver. Man. I think he's commenting on when I said, well, if my dad is standing up to dictators, my grandpa's fighting in the war and then being part of the greatest generation building the American dream, it's not a big ask for me to stand up to SJWs. But you stood for justice when you were called. You know, thank you. And my wife tells me I need to learn to take a compliment, so I will take it. It's weird. I went on that show, Informed Dissent, with those doctors that are counter to the narrative of the big unmentionable thing. And they wanted to know about me standing up to the countering the narrative of big media. And they were just so thrilled with me and calling me a hero and this, that, and the other. And it's a weird thing to be called that. But the way I deal with it in my head is like, well, if I can be that symbol for you and improve your life, then it's an honor. But I will never let things like that get to my ego or anything like that, because if you could put an X-ray on me, on my life, or anyone's life, and just see the things you've said and done that you're ashamed of, and God forgives, but we still, you know, we have those things. You're like, hero? You know, I'm a guy that was in a situation. I did what I thought was right. So I guess that's the most I could do. And Schampf did it too. Schampf had an easy career. I think you got your tenure, or if you didn't, you were very secure.
No, I was full time, and once you're full time, as people don't understand, is when you're full time as a college professor. That's right, Schampf didn't. He just screamed Wolverine at the wrong guy. He was waving Slim Jims in a menacing fashion, and maybe not literally. And this is the thing I tell you guys, is that I was on that bus that when Gabe tackled me. But this is the thing, is that when I look at this stuff and I think about it, the best way I could put it is this: when you're a college professor and you're full time, it is so unlikely you could get removed from your job. You could be, right? You could be, Lord knows, administrative violence, as it was defined in the Amber Heard trial, could be used against you. Any number of things could be used against you. However, it is a very solid position that took me 18 years was the end of my career. It took me 15 years to get to. You do not walk away from a steady paycheck in a field and profession that's very hard to get into for anything other than either you get fired or by principle. And I said, and what I said and what I did, I was like, this is wrong what we're doing. I said, I am sick of working my tail off so that these idiots can gain more power and turn what was once a incredibly amazing, open-minded, tolerant, free environment and have them come in and start poisoning people's minds with tribalism.
Right.
And so that's the reason why I left. It was absolutely on principle. And I one of my heroes, interestingly enough, on this day is Dave Chappelle. And I remember when in his last stand-up special, that's right, shout, yeah, avenge me. Yeah, because I just said Wolverines once, people lost it. But it's but it's one of those things to where when Dave Chappelle said, it ain't about putting a pin on your outfit and showing up in a limousine. When you want to make a stand, get out and walk. And I'm the guy that got out and walked, he said. And I remember thinking when I heard him say that, because this has already happened, I went, yeah, that's what I did. I got out and walked. I didn't make safe, pushbacks from inside the confines that I knew wouldn't make any difference while people's minds were getting poisoned. Right. I walked because I knew it would have impact. And I knew that me being there and doing a great job was giving legitimacy, which is something that your man, Eric July, talks about a lot. It aids the perceived legitimacy for them to see someone with my technical skills paired off with that Marxist garbage. And that's what it is, man.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you completely. Like, God is going to give me these amazing talents and personality to be personable and fun and influencing people. I've always been a coach. I talk about a lot. I'm good with lifting people up and influencing them. That's what coaches do. And every football team I ever coached was like in the championship or whatever, like did very well because I love it. I love inspiring people. I don't know why. That's just how I'm made. And to pervert that, to pervert those gifts I have, to pervert the gifts you have. You're like me, Shant. It's funny. You have the gift of gab like I do. You can just talk and be funny right off the cuff. We don't plan this show out. I was downloading pictures for this movie while the theme music was playing, guys. We're just going here. But we have the gift of gab and all that. And then to use it to have Superman tell white people that they're trash. I'm trying not to cuss. So just screw you, DC Comics, for trying to get me to do that. See, I didn't cuss.
We're seriously like, we're deep into Southern Help Me Jesus territory with our swearing. And this is the thing too, guys, is that what I found, I can tell you from the other side of it, right? I can tell you from the other side of it is that in an environment where you are surrounded with so many people preaching nihilism, tribalism, and all of this stuff, this was the one hard thing about leaving, although I did realize there were people who were going to put me in a situation where they saw me, I was a marked man because they knew I wasn't going along with the narrative. But I will tell you, in my classrooms, I had a student I saw when she was a freshman, and she was so full of hope. I helped her get so much skills. She's like, I love art school. By the time I saw her as a junior, and we were doing remote learning at this point, of course, because that's what was going on, she was so depressed. All that joy had drained out of her face, and she'd taken all these crazy Marxist, radical Marxist feminism and Marxist critical theory classes. And she looked like she had just had her soul hollowed out. And I said, what do you want to paint? What do you want to do? Let's make great illustrations. Let's bring the romance back into your life. And she didn't smile for the first couple of months of that class. And she finally started smiling about her work. I said, this is good, right? And you're happy. And I go, yeah. I said, think about what moment someone was able, because it's your responsibility at the end of the day, was able to get you to betray the beauty in your life, the hope, the optimism, the romance. Right. You show somebody how easy they can betray the things they love because an idiot keeps putting the pressure on. It gives you a strength and it gives you a moral compass that isn't a fair weather moral compass. my belief in defending the rights of people that disagree with me, as long as they believe in this country, right? As long as they love this country, is not something that that changes based on convenience for me. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, it's not about expediency. It's a principle.
It's not about expediency. It's not about convenience. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's just and guys, the pendulum is already swinging. What we got to make sure is, it's like what is it? You know, the advice that Randy Pausch said he to give his daughter. You know, the best advice a dad can give his daughter is when it comes to, oh gosh, I love that stuff. When it comes to boys looking to date you, he said to tell his daughter, ignore everything they say and pay attention only to what they do, which I thought was great. Yeah, absolutely on the First Amendment. And then there was another one. I said to I heard from older guy that really helped me. He goes, what I told my daughters is, she goes, what do you tell your daughters about, you know, marriage or whatever else? And he goes, there's only 2 rules, and I have things I tell my daughter too. Gabe was talking about his versions. We all have our versions of advice, fellas, so don't you worry. But ladies out there, he said, has a job and treats you right is my only bar. And I went, that's a really great thing to tell your daughter. Has a job and treats you right. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's it. Like, we're not looking for a lot here. And so what we try to do, zoom in on some of that, man. We gotta.
I will. I just want to let this thread naturally conclude where you are. But
dude, you distracted me with beautiful art again.
It's Nestor Redondo. Well, we could tie it to what we're talking about goodness and culture and tradition and why it matters. I don't know the exact mechanism, but just looking at this, literally the way, not the way young girls use that word, I actually mean it. Just looking at this makes my life better. It makes me feel good.
Art's amazing.
It makes me happier. I get dopamine. I get healthier. Probably, it relaxes you, and that's why beauty matters. And the SJWs, the postmodern, all that, they hate this because it's a culture of resentment and narcissism. And to do what Nestor, this is the great, he since passed, rest in peace, Filipino artist of the 60s, 70s, and I think into the 80s, Nestor Redondo, to be this good, a lot of hard work. And hard work is you're denying your inner self all that pleasure you want to seek, all the laziness, all the indulgence. And that is anathema to everything SJWs stand for. The SJWs have the same religion as the Church of Satan. Do as thou wilt. If it feels good, do it. Well, this doesn't feel good. To get this good, to draw rendering this good doesn't feel good. It's tedious. It takes a long time. But if you have any sort of discipline, you can get there. Look at the negative space on the boots, the white. Don't look at the black lines. For those of you out there that don't know the terminology, look at the white in between the black and how he defines shape with negative space. This is my favorite comic book artist of all time, Nestor Redondo. I
just posted the name in the chat for those of you guys who just want the exact spelling, so you can Google it. Google him. You won't regret it. Is there a good book on his work yet? Like a retrospective?
Scott Dunbier is like the editor-in-chief or big art director, big boss at Wildstorm for years. And then he's been at IDW for like the last 10. And he does those artist editions. He's the man behind that. And I've told him multiple times, I go up to his face because he knows me because I'm Wildstorm, he's Wildstorm. And I tell him, I want my Nestor Redondo artist edition. And, he said, oh, that's a great idea. And then I told Gary Martin that, and Gary said he's told him the same thing. But
needs to happen.
When you look, it's a J.C. Leyendecker kind of sensibility with some of these lines. You know what I mean? And I just got in the mail the Bible illustrated by him. It's just selected stories from the Old Testament.
Just seeing that.
But Joe Kubert was like the main guy, I guess, behind the project, but then Nestor Redondo illustrated it. And my green screen's eating this thing up, but I'll try and show you some of it. We'll see how the green screen treats this thing. But I just got this in the mail. I'm surprised that DC Comics printed the Bible, but this was 2012. Let me turn off the green screen thing. It's story time, boys and girls. Virtual background.
Beautiful work.
None. Okay, so no background. Just me and my green screen in my garage. I'll make myself bigger without.
Oh, is that oversized format?
Oh yeah, it's oversized hardcover. The original was a soft cover, like a big magazine. But this, just look at the rendering.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah, it's insane, this thing. It's so good.
Wow.
And if you get
What's
those
the size on that?
If you get this looks like it's not 11 by 17. It looks like to be, I don't know, it's about 12 or 14 inches tall, about 10 inches wide. It's a big book. It's a big book. But oh, you got to see this. Check this out right here. Let me see if I can get this right into the camera here. Hold on. Can you see this?
Whoa, yeah.
Focusing yet? Is it focusing?
That is like old masters level ink stuff there.
Yeah. What Nestor Redondo is capable of is unreal. And yeah, like I said, he's my favorite comic artist. I don't think anyone can touch him when it comes to rendering. There are better storytellers, there are better cartoonists or whatever. But the way I want to get to my technical ability to draw, I want to live where he's living with this rendering. Look at the texture of the rocks.
Yep.
Golly,
that is, I mean, seriously.
Look at the little, not skirt, but the loincloth the father's wearing there. Yeah. Look at that use of negative space. Yep. I'm obsessed with his use of negative space.
Look at the rocks though, and the faces are so classical, man.
Yeah, I think it's
beautiful.
Insane. I think it's totally insane what he's doing. And I saw his work first like in 2006. I got some of those House of Secrets phone books that DC Comics reprinted of the old scary stories. And I mean, look at this guitar this lady's playing. Look, I don't know how that's coming across on the internet.
No, it's beautiful, man. That's gorgeous.
Yeah. So I want to figure out what he's doing, and what it's going to take is, I know I'm capable to learn how to do this better, but it's going to take a lot of hard work, and that goes against the Church of Satan, the left-wingers, which is pleasure is the only thing that matters. Well, it's not pleasurable to work that hard, so they never can get good, and that's why they make ugly, terrible art. That's the whole thing there. How, again, look at this.
Gorgeous, man.
Insane to me.
It's crazy. It's so good, man. I mean, you guys want to talk about like what we're shooting for? It's an immaculate reality, man.
Yeah, I wish.
It's look at this. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Got Thor, I guess. Well, he's not Thor because he has a sword. I don't know what's going on. Look at that elbow. No. Look at this calf and knee. Look at this.
Yep.
Look at the different layers of rendering to build the 3D.
Yeah.
Insane.
I mean, guys, like this is, guys, this was made, these were made by artists who had this, and I always love this kind of thing that Jake Weidman talks about this as well. He says that the artists who did all these great things, they had the same amount of hours in the day that we had. We've got more tools, we've got technology. The technology has gotten better. The biggest thing that we need to raise up and work on is the knowledge. And that is what it's about. That is absolutely within our grasp, but you have to copy to study it. You really do. They did master copies of the old masters. That's the only, no one invents those ink lines. I know the gist of where those ink lines come from. You have to study them. And what the goal of education is today is to tell you it's wrong to copy and do master copies.
If he did this Viking warrior versus what I'm guessing are like Huns or Arabs in the foreground, they'd say it's racist. Why do you have the white man with the blonde hair attacking the? It's like, would you look at the inks?
Yeah, to which the Filipino man would have to apologize.
Right, the Filipino man is clearly white.
It's like,
this guy. I'll put this guy. I'm going to say it. I'll put this guy with Albert Durr's etchings. I'll put him there.
Yes, I would too.
Is that crazy? Because I'll put him there. I love Albert Durr's etchings. And that what year was Albert Durr? Was that 1300s, 1400s? I don't know when that was.
I've got a book on him, and I couldn't tell you that. I've got a book right over there.
But I saw his work in college in art history, and I was blown away. Away. I'm looking for some Albert Durr right now. Sorry. So I can show you the comparison. I'll grab an Albert Durr. He was an amazing painter, but his etchings. Oh, here we. Let's find an etching. Okay, here we go. Here's one. Oh, come on, give it to me, Google. Or I don't use Google. I use what do I use? I use Chrome instead. Well, that is Google, isn't it? It's the same company. Whatever.
Let me see. Oh, wait a second. Okay, oh, interesting.
Here's an Albert Durr here. Now this is really grainy, but you see a lot of the same things happening. You see that texture in the clouds and the sky behind it, and how he's just building form. Now the insane thing about these Albert Durr drawings, this is not pen and ink, guys. This is intaglio. Do you know what intaglio is? Shant, you know, of course. These are copper plates and you carve into the copper plate. Imagine trying to create gray and black and white tones by how much you etch into a piece of copper. So then you put some ink on the copper and then you roll it through a press with some paper. And then Albert Dürer was like us. He was a commercial artist who could make copies of his work because he would do it on a plate and then you could get, hundreds or thousands of prints out of it before the plate went bad. So, yeah, it's I don't know. Albert Dürer is one of my favorite guys.
Yeah, I'm looking for. See if I can find this here. I don't know. Do they have any available? I can't really tell.
What are you looking for?
I'm gonna put something in the private chat for you here. Hang on a second here. If there's got to be a way to track this thing down, but it's just the title of it. But yeah,
Google search his name in the chat. Albert Dürer. If you guys want to look more.
Yeah. So there's a book called The Art of Nestor Redondo, and it's a paperback.
Right. That's a crime. It's good that it exists, but we need better.
We do need better.
We need a Nestor Redondo.
This is what we're saying to you, IDW. Don't be sorry. Be better.
Right. Right. I don't know if you heard me. We need a Nestor Redondo theme park. Okay.
We do. Oh, man, I'm looking at this. What is this? This is, it's a portfolio collection. It's where that piece is from. It's a portfolio collection called Men, Maiden, and Myths by Nestor Redondo.
He was a true master, one of the true masters, and I don't know why he doesn't get love in comics. I don't know why.
He's getting it now.
Insane though. So I mean, he's my favorite. I got to show you this Swamp Thing I just found. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You got to be kidding me. This thing.
Look out, people. We're geeking out.
Sorry, yeah. This is what I really love to do. Is just go full ham, full geek on the comic art. Look at this Swamp Thing here. Swamp Thing 14. Let's go. Let's zoom in, kids. Come on. All the way. Look at what he's doing here. Well, hold on. Let's zoom out first. I love. Come on, Gabe. You're screwing this up. All right, here we go. I love the values that he's able to establish, the 3D of like the thorax and the abdomen and the head of that ant beast, whatever it is. Do you see the light and the reflected light and all? Golly, that's insane. Oh no, did we lose you?
Yeah, what happened? I accidentally typed into the wrong window Nestor Redondo to try to find some more stuff, and I vanished. Nestor led me astray, but in a good. Oh my gosh, man! Oh, that stuff.
Look at that! Look at just. I mean, this
a giant.
The light, then the reflected light, and everything has mass. Every line has beauty. Every line. Oh, and that reminds me of Jean-Gérard Moebius, right? Is that his name, Moebius?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Moebius is one of the Mount Rushmore of comic artists. And we were talking in the private Twitter of the Comicsgate Kings, and Bill Willingham said this. He was talking to Art T-Bear about some pages Art was showing us privately for Black and White. Go back, Black and White, because the page Art showed us today privately.
Beautiful.
I told him to show it publicly. I told him to quit being afraid to spoil things. It didn't spoil anything. You know what it spoiled? It spoiled that the book is effing awesome on every page. That's what it spoiled. Anyway, Bill Willingham told Art this. He said, Art, I once got to sit in on a hotel lobby conversation, waiting for the shuttle to the airport between Jean-Gérard Moebius and Ernie Chan, who was inking a job on a lapboard. Moebius said to Chan, all it takes to be a top comics artist is to never put down a single line that is not the absolute perfect line. And when I see guys like Nestor Redondo and Moebius and guys like that, it's like, yeah. And that doesn't mean it has to be tight and sterile and clean. It can be outrageous and crazy and filthy and dirty, but put in the years of hard work based on your culture and tradition that built everything for you. All these artists that built this world of art for you, trust what they've taught you and then refine it yourself. And then everything you put on that paper is going to sing, and this is why tradition matters.
Dude, this is the reality of this though. The artwork that you were showing that you are geeking out about, a lot of them, they're plates from a portfolio series, and they are on eBay, and they were limited to 1,000.
Get out.
And they are, this one here, the price is $105, which for something from 1979, it was limited to 1,000 is not so bad. And
send me
it's
the link in
Nestor
the private
Redondo,
chat.
Men, Maiden, and Myth portfolio.
Listen, everyone in the chat, Shant is lying. It isn't on eBay.
That's right.
I'll go check and make sure that it's not there. None of you go check because Shant is a known liar about eBay. Do not go.
We are sorry to report there are no more copies on eBay.
Yeah. Oh man, but you know, when I sit down and I'm working on this stuff and I'm painting on and we were talking before the stream, I've actually run out of palette paper. I've been painting so much. So I'm waiting for art supplies to come in. That's what's holding me back, you know. And I'm illustrating like on this page. I'm so frustrated because I want to work on it. But I'm working on a panel like this one where I've got my figure roughed in. And I've got her roughed in. I've still got to paint her where she's her dress
a little
on.
more to the center because the part that's going off screen is a little dark. There we go. There you go.
And hold on, let me see if does this help?
Golly, Shant, that monster like who's stretching and he's not yawning, but he's yelling or howling. Yeah. Amazing composition on his body. You got the big shape nailed on that. Love it.
And so here's our guy down.
Snake is terrible. Oh,
yep.
And I mean that in a good way.
And this is the thing, right? Like when we're putting together, like we've got people like Nestor to look to. You know, we've got people like Nestor showing us myth and fantasy and epic scale and how you put this stuff together. We've got villains.
Hold on, look at this comment.
Oh yeah, somebody say Laurel. Yeah, she's getting devoured, man.
Yeah.
But we've got our characters that we're putting together here, and we're trying to make something that is. I've got to tell you, Matt, this is the thing. I think this might be my favorite title for an art portfolio. I'm gonna have to steal this. Men, Maiden, and Myths. That is the definition of what Nosfero is about, man. That's what it's about for me, you know? And it's like, and the paintings, you know this. I'll hold this one up while I'm full frame here. The paintings, guys, whether it's for Phil's book or it's for my stuff, this is the CG Vacation book. The secret to all of this stuff is to just go full tilt and to make the best stuff you could possibly make every single day when you get up, so that there is a body of work that you leave behind. Look at this giant shark back there. So there's a body of work that you leave behind that is something that people love. You know what I mean? That they're passionate about, and that takes them back to a particular time. Listen, we've lost, we've lost Nestor. Do you know what I mean? To time. It's going to happen, but we haven't lost his work. We haven't lost his work. He's left a legacy that is going to inspire and continue to lift artists up. That's all you can ever do. And to me, my general attitude about that stuff is, even if I don't create such amazing and incredible iconic work as someone like Nestor Redondo does, what I can do is not be a disgrace to their legacy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can do something that is a grace and not a disgrace. And that's what it's about. Yeah. Mike, fan of Double Impact, says, I'm not looking at the shark. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
I was working on it, There's other things in there, right?
Let's see. Gabe LT, been missing the Waffle House. I need my chance to convince Sean the Jetty Art to make his next book about Joan of Arc.
There you go.
It takes place in 1800 with Napoleon.
There you go.
Whoa.
It can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love, and so this is the thing. Thank you so much, Angela. I appreciate that. I really do. And this is the thing. Because wherever I am on the spectrum, my memory is pretty interesting. And so there's it's like there's things you don't want to do. You don't want to do. You're like, I'm doing such a good job. Let me just see it. I'm doing such a good job of seeming normal some days, not often, but let me see if I'm right. I just want to check because I was going to type in. I'll tell you what I'm saying. August 1980. Let's see if I'm right, because I'm going to be terrified if this is correct. Hopefully I'm wrong by a year here. Let me just see.
All right.
Let me see. Is that what it was? Oh, I think I was. Yes, I was off. Thank God. I missed it by a year. I knew it was one of the two. So, or is it not? Was I off?
What are we talking about?
Oh no, I wasn't off. I'm sorry. I think I was correct the first time. Is this right? Yeah, it was. Oh, damn it. Anyway, let's get back to business here. So 1981, August 1981, National Geographic, that has Mayans on the cover. We had when I was a kid. And in that National Geographic, they had a section on sharks. And in that section on sharks, they had a fold-out page of a ragged-toothed shark. And I used to unfold that page and draw as best as I could that ragged-toothed shark because it was so intimidating and so cool. And without even thinking about it, when I was doing this painting, I was like painting this ragged-toothed shark I had in my mind from memory. So when I went to go get, reference because I wanted to add more stuff to it.
Why are you saying they're intimidating? I don't see it.
Yes, guys, do you see what I mean? What? They look like a barbed wire fence mouthed, silent demon, It's just incredible, man. I love that stuff. Yeah, exactly. That's right.
That is horrifying. As a former surfer and a person that lives 3 miles from the Pacific Ocean, I'm not scared of the ocean. Some people are. But I like it. The only thing I don't like about the beach in Southern California is like the crowds. Like it's hard to find a parking spot, whatever. But I used to surf like middle school, at the end of middle school, and then in high school I would surf a little bit, not too much. And you do the way you surf, for those of you who don't know, you swim out and then you wait for a set. The waves will come in sets, and there's no waves, and they'll come in sets. So sometimes you find yourself sitting there 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, just sitting on your surfboard or laying on your stomach. And if you're not careful, you'll start to think about things like this. And you'll wonder how close they are to your little – I have big feet. I wonder how close they are to your feet and how delicious do your feet look, And but my daughter got a stingray right in the foot about 7 years ago. Oh. Yeah. They're out. Their breeding time, I think, is like June or July or something like that.
The worst stories I've heard, though, from people outside – like the shark stories are usually – they're pretty quick stories, sadly. Homie needs a dentist because we had one up here in New England not long ago. Don't go out for that morning swim. But I'll tell you this, the stories I've heard that just kind of make me wince are every encounter that someone has described with bumping into a man-o-war. Those are the stories that make me just queasy.
But that's one of the most poisonous things on earth, right? That Portuguese man-o-war.
Yeah, I mean, and the pain is supposed to be like, heart attack, seizure, paralysis. Like a lot of people don't make it back to shore.
We're not doctors, but we're not afraid to talk about it. It's like a neurotoxin, right? And it just like making everything. It ain't good. What did Rocky Balboa say after he lost that one fight? It was like Rocky 2, I think. He said his eyelashes hurt or his eyeballs.
Yeah, that was Rocky 1. Yeah, he says your eyelashes hurt, everything hurts. Right.
So, yeah.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. When you live down here, shuffle your feet, don't step when it's time for stingrays. It's certain seasons. I don't remember when. Yeah. But do not take safety advice from me. I'm an artist. So look it up yourself, kids. So,
that's right.
Yeah. Most poisonous thing on earth, that would be communism.
Yeah, it's the ideological equivalent of the blue-ringed octopus. And if you don't know what that is, of course it lives in Australia. And, of course, it can kill you in 3 seconds. And it's a tiny little octopus with blue rings. And that thing it looks cute as a button. And that thing will take you out before you make it to shore.
You're snorkeling. He comes up. He's all, hi, my name's Brian. What's your name?
Look at that, man. Yeah, totally what it is, man. But this guys, this is what we're shooting for, man. This is what we're shooting for, this level of excellence. And I will tell you, when you see the ink work of everybody's doing, the brush work of everybody's doing now, Gabe's doing some beautiful ink work. I mean, this is where we're going, guys.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Larry Elmore, my gosh.
Yeah. Great.
Larry Elmore. I think who's that famous D&D fanatic he's an actor. He did hot boxing with Mike Tyson for a couple episodes, and
I don't remember.
He plays the guy in the Snyder cut of Justice League at the end, or Batman. Batman v
Superman. He's got a real Italian name, like Manganiello or something. Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, his wife commissioned an Elmore piece for him for his D&D room, his guy room, his man cave.
Awesome. Yeah, no, Larry Elmore's a legend. Kevin Simbidia did a lot of artwork for Palladium Games. They did Rifts and Robotech, the role-playing games. I am so into role-playing games and Warhammer 40K, but never playing it. I'm an art nerd for Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer and all that stuff. Remember, I love Paul Bonner, the
Yeah.
Scottish Irish guy, and he's one of the main artists for Warhammer back in the late 80s and all that in the 90s. And I never played these games at all. My brother played them because he's like kind of nerdy and his friends are really nerdy. But I love fantasy art so much. I mean, who doesn't, right? But I don't know. I would spend so much time painting those little space marines and orcs and never play. I would just paint and paint. And paint.
Yeah, I used to love that.
I would get styrofoam and melt it and then paint it so it looked like a burned out building. And oh man, what fun times! That was really fun.
Dude, yeah, I ordered recently because this really cool like company is doing painted figures, but small 1/18 scale figures of Warhammer, and I just ordered. They're on a Big Bad Toy Store. I just ordered one of those because the designs and the mythos of Warhammer 40K is incredible.
It's insanely good. Yeah,
brilliant.
There's a video game that was a hit game like 10 years ago called Space Marine for the Xbox and the PlayStation 3 or 4. And I'm not a video game player. You know, I play like a little 8-bit football on my phone that looks like 1987 football. But I play Space Marine on my Xbox the other day just to look at it because it has the aesthetics of Warhammer because that's what it is. And I played it for like half an hour just so I could look at Space Marines and orcs and all that. But they said they're making a part 2. I want to get a new Xbox or a new PlayStation because there's this game called Elden Ring. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen. I'm not really interested in playing because, again, I'm not a gamer. But oh my gosh, it's a work of art, this thing. I got myself watching YouTube videos of people just playing Elden Ring. I never watched stuff like that.
I love to watch playthroughs of beautiful games, even though I don't play video games because I can't draw and play a video game, obviously. But yeah.
He's asking about Tecmo Bowl. Well, on the Hamhorn phone,
right on.
I do have my this is the game I play when I'm taking a break from drawing. This is I'll show you real quick. It's like a tiny little stupid AI. I could hook it up to you can't. The green screen eats everything. But yes, it's like Tecmo Bowl. Anyone that's played Tecmo Bowl, it's the same thing. It's 8-bit football from like the 1985 Nintendo. So that's the big game that I play. So
wait, I have to ask a question here, man.
Yes.
All right. I feel like there should be stretch goals where the creator gets a present. All of that doesn't make sense. I'm going to send you some. Actually, hold on a second. I think I'll be able to share this with you guys. Hang on a sec. I'm going to share this window with you, Gabe. I think we need to somehow find a way to crowdfund getting this for Charlie's London. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can.
What are we going to get?
I can't even believe this is a real thing. I went to Big Bad to see if I could find those Warhammer things, and this came up as something they're about to release. Star Ace is releasing a 1/6 scale.
Why is he making that face? He's making a
Charlie
face
Chaplin.
like he sharded that face.
Well, here's the thing. Like, look at this. This is insane. Holy cow, man.
That's really
This is nuts. But for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, let me see if I can show you these. Here you go. Warhammer 40K. Let's see if I can get this to work. This is the company that's now doing, all of this, these crazy different Warhammer figures. And these things are like, they're insane. This whole thing has just gotten really, really huge. And where's the one? Gosh, it's like such an amazing world of creativity and art. And we used to have the miniatures and paint them. And they were just like, oh my gosh. And shoot, McFarlane's doing stuff for them. But these 1/18ths are ridiculous. The detail in these things.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that. These are 1/18th. They're tiny. They're not as small as the miniatures. But they're just ludicrous, man. So it's a world that Woke is going after, to be clear. It is. But the level of there's a really crazy Ultramarines. Look at that banner. It looks a little bit.
See, this is my childhood here. I would go visit Colorado in the summers because my parents are divorced. I live in San Diego, but I'm from Colorado. We go back to Greeley where my dad and grandparents lived. But it was my mom's parents, but they were still like loved my dad even after the divorce. But there was a place called Don's Hobbies on 8th Avenue in Greeley, Colorado. And my brother and I would go in there. We didn't have any money. and we would look at the Warhammer miniatures and stuff forever. And the art just captured my imagination. And it was the exact same time that I found comics. It was like the summers of 91, 92, right when X-Men, New Mutants, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, then Image Comics in 92. It was the exact same time. And Warhammer, and it's so nostalgic to me of like informing me about who I was in art. Here it is. I connected it to my computer.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is what I'm just going to show a few seconds of this. So I'm the white team, and I'm playing, and my phone's right here. I connected my phone to the computer. So now I'm running, and I was tackled for a loss. Let's see if I can throw a touchdown, and then I'll quit annoying you with this, Sean. So no,
it's fine, man. Go. I'm
white line there. Look at interception. Okay, so anyway, I want to show you my video game that I throw in, and now they're doing an instant replay of me, and there's Gabe throwing an interception. So anyway, that was the little game on my phone. I wanted to show you that. That's all.
So because you can't make this stuff up is often the case. This is from my Vimeo. And this is a video I did. When was this posted? Hang on a second. I got to see if I can find when I posted this. I posted this, probably at least a year ago, right? So I took, let me see if I can make this work here. Let me share this window, share screen, elderly feature is enacted. Let me see here, videos. There we go. So I'm going to share this. This is a video I did where I took art I used to love when I was a kid, right? Warhammer art. And I said, what would happen if I did a couple of layers? There's no disrespect to the artist. I love this artist. But what would happen if I did a workover and I just kind of pushed the value a little bit on this thing? And this is what I came up with, where I was just, and so here you go, guys. This is just me messing around. This is how much we're into this stuff. So here you go. Let's see if this works.
All right.
So that's the original.
Right.
And I drew this 1,000 times, and I was like, what would happen if I just messed with the depth a little bit?
Oh, wow.
And so that's the kind of stuff that when you're a super nerd, right, this is the stuff you do to relax when you've got a migraine or you can't draw or paint. You go in and you go, what would happen if I just pushed the depth of field a little bit with the value and created some atmospheric perspective? But this was the art and the stuff that really inspired us, when we were kids, just seeing this stuff. I think about it when I paint, when I draw. That's why I get excited about Rob the Replicator stuff, Rob Arnold's work, because I think I got a replicator piece in me that's like an old school Warhammer 40K mashup, like crazy kind of action piece, But this is the stuff, man. That's the stuff amazing. That dreams are made of when you're a kid,
Yeah, and I think it's about a good place to end it. And I'll say this, and then you can say your piece. I think that's really nice.
Absolutely.
And it's great of you fans out there. I'm blown away. You guys got us over 58,000, and you got us over 920 backers. Thank you so much. Yes, we're very happy to go Dave that tomorrow. Hail. But the way that Warhammer made me feel, the way that X-Men and the way Star Wars and all that stuff made me feel, and it was good and it was wholesome. It wasn't trashy. It wasn't hateful. It wasn't nihilistic and negative about life and everything sucks. It was heroes. They go through hell, but they come out the other side because they rely on bravery and virtue and being forthright and honest and having principles and doing the hard thing even when they don't want to. And it's so important that we tell ourselves this stuff over and over and over, because persuasion, it's like alcohol. It works on you whether you know it or not. You can be persuaded even if you know you're being persuaded, because it's working in your subconscious, even though you're consciously aware of it. So I think that's why it's so important to create beautiful art. And when you see things that are masterfully done, they just like literally, I'm going a little more than I want to here, but literally just seeing those eyes, how well her bra and the horns are rendered and the hair, and then the jewels adorning her, and the negative space of her cape. You see the white on the left side of that image, not the black lines, but the white lines, or the white negative that he didn't ink. To see the masterful work there, and then just how beautiful this woman is, it just makes me happy. And that's just absolutely a good thing. That's just a good thing to be able that I can create something for you guys where you can see. Where did I set it? Oh, where did I don't know. I have my beef law pages around here somewhere where I can show you that action, and you just get happier. And Sean can show you vampires being destroyed, and your day's just better from seeing beauty that we're making. So it's a privilege to do it for you. So
it's a joy. Thank you guys.
Close it out here.
Yeah, all I've got is hail. You guys, thank you for helping me get to 24K. Thank you for helping my brother to continue to crush it. All hail, love, and respect to Gary Martin, to our man David Williams, Gabe El-Tayeb, my brother, to the chat, Wolverines. Thank you for being here and having our backs, and we're gonna make great stuff for you. Peace.
All right, bye.